And to me, it's nauseating. It's absolutely nauseating because
multiple mental health clinicians said that Derek had limited intellectual ability and was not capable of consenting.
Congratulations.
Boom. Right? Change soccer in America forever.
Hella bugs out here. Bro, I can't keep caressing my leg, boy. Trying to get freaky out here.
We are step siblings and also husband and wife.
Yeah, I can't do any of that stuff.
That's right. Yeah, in fact, soccer can crawl up my asshole and die for all I care. And that's what the kids do, but I'm a little older. I like that shirt tucked in.
Who the hell told you that would not be seen on television?
Anal sex is the process of inserting a penis into the anus of another partner.
Oh, shit. All right, welcome to the Straight Red Card. Got a lot to cover tonight in a short time because both Brett and I are sick. I don't know how that happened.
No worries, Derek. I'm taking Dayquil right now.
Oh,
literally like 10 minutes ago, took Dayquil because I'm a lot of NyQuil. But I sleep like a baby regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, I'm drowning my my sickness out with some booze, which I heard was good for you.
Well, we'll put you to sleep.
And then I'm going to pop some Mucinex before I go to bed.
Yeah, that'll all work. But yeah, my voice is still cracking. Yeah. I thought that it was just from the show, but it turns out, no, I'm coughing up shit. So I'm sick. Mm-hmm. And I guess, you know, as a new teacher, I should just expect that I'm going to be sick constantly because I haven't taught since I was 24 years old. And then I'm just going to be sick all the time. I hope that's not the case, but so far, that's what it's been since I've been there. Anyhow, oh, by the way, a guy at work watched our show.
Well,
he's the guy. So I do a music class with him.
He's the guy?
During SRT. His name is Brent. And he's a really cool guy. He's one of the other teachers. He's actually a counselor. And we both played in bands in the 90s, in the early 2000s. And we actually didn't know it, but we worked together when we were, when I was working with Ursel and you were working with Ursel on Indy 11. Mm-hmm. Indirectly, we did. And then, so he's a counselor there. He used to run a big development and building company, but he had an addiction issue, whatever. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. The point is he's doing what he wants now. It's helping kids in recovery. And he watched our show. He fucking loved it. He's like, this. That's
the thing. I mean, everybody would secretly. Well, I feel like 3/4 of the population would all be closet lovers of our show, and then the other fourth would all be on our chat laughing it up.
Well, here's the thing. He did what Daniel did. My drummer did that one time. He put in the game, the live game. He's like, okay, I want to see blah, 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 and see who's talking about it on YouTube. We were like the second thing that came up. He looked at the picture and he's like, wait a minute. Because he went there briefly and he's like, that's the dude I work with or something like that. Anyhow, he watched the whole fucking show. Well, until about 12:15 or whatever it was, because we went on until 12:30. He's like, I had to go to bed. Yeah, that's what I felt like too, brother. That's what I felt like too.
My brother on that Tuesday had asked, hey, you up for 7 days? Which is a game we play, 7 Days to Die. It's a zombie apocalypse game.
Yeah.
And I go, can't. I'm watching the USA-Mexico game.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, when I saw him at my parents' house, I go, I wish I would have played 7 Days to Die with you instead.
Yeah, exactly. That Mexico game was so bad. And oh my God. I do want to give a shout out to Johnny Shoreham View, who you might have caught him too. He was one of the podcasts for Sheffield United. And that's why I watched him to get, some feedback on Trustee, etc. And he committed suicide, unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago. He's no longer with us. So my thoughts and prayers to his family and his kids. I heard about it from Colin at One Leads. And I was like, wow, are you serious? Yeah. This is crazy. Like, that guy had a pretty good following at Sheffield United. And that just goes to show sometimes you can't see what's really going on behind the scenes with somebody who's running a really successful podcast. And they might have mental problems. They might be going through depression. And nobody really knew it. Nobody saw it coming. So,
look at Robin Williams. Same thing.
Well, we knew in the end that Robin had a degenerative disease that was going to take his life and steal his memories and steal his mind. So,
okay, I respect it a lot more now.
Yeah, so he didn't do it out of the blue. He was already degenerating.
Did he go up to Canada to do it?
No, I don't think so.
I'm laughing at the fact that Canada has suicide clinics.
No, he hung himself in his closet.
Yeah.
Slowly. I mean, he choked himself to death. I think he took a bunch of pills, tied a rope around or whatever around his neck, and choked himself out. It's really kind of sad because Robin Williams is one of the greatest actors and comedians ever, although known for stealing jokes. Yes, I get it. But as a comedian, but as an actor, I don't think there is many better out there in his era. Dead Poets Society, Good Morning Vietnam. I mean, it just never stops. Like
it's funny. You bring up the stealing jokes thing. Obviously, Joe Rogan talks about Carlos. Was it Carlos Mencia? Mencia. Thank you, Carlos.
Yeah.
Mencia is what they call him actually.
Yeah, Mencia.
And they talk after like a decade of a feud. He was talking about somebody else, and they've come. They're not every time somebody says a joke that's similar to somebody's joke is stealing. There's also the subconscious thing, like you heard this joke like 2 years ago. You haven't really thought about it. All of a sudden, it pops up in your mind, and then you run with it, thinking that it's your own joke. I'm not saying that's what happened in either situation, but I'm just saying they talk about how that happens because somebody comes up and says, "Bro, I literally said that. That was part of my gig last year." Like, oh shit, I didn't realize that.
It happens in music all the time. Although She's a Crown is nothing like She's a Jar from Wilco. I wrote She's a Crown and it never consciously hit me until way later that I sort of stole a line and I changed the object. Isn't that weird? And then one day I was listening to him like, She's a Crown. Where have I heard? I've heard something like that before. And then it's like, bam, Wilco. She's a Jar, which I hadn't listened to for like 4 years at that time. But it didn't hit me that like she's whatever, it's kind of stealing in a way, but subtly, but not on purpose. So it happens in, I'm sure, comedy. I'm sure it happens in, I know it happens in music.
Any creative aspect.
Led Zeppelin, has been accused of stealing so many songs. And some of them, they just outright basically stole the inspiration from Lead Belly and so many other bands, but
no better well-known one than Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, that was so obvious though. He's like, no, there's an extra bass hit in that.
Dun 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 dun. That's his. Then my music's completely different. It goes dun 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 dun.
Yeah, he added one.
Well played, bro.
Yeah, one extra bass line hit.
I mean, he literally just admitted he stole it. Is what that was.
Right. Summer Teeth is one of my all-time favorite albums. I'd have to agree with you there, Al. Wilco is a great band. I loved Wilco. I own most of their albums. But I mean, we would listen to them while we were on tour, driving to Nashville or Chicago, wherever in the the band. And I own that, but I don't remember listening to that song, that many times. Probably, 50 times maybe. Over 10 years, and it just never occurred to me that I'd stolen that line, the phrasing. The songs are nothing alike. They're absolutely nothing alike. Give us some Pochettino in the intro. I don't know what to say about that. The Pochettino thing is what it is, and we will get to that.
It's gonna be tough for people to understand what he says in our intro, because you got the musical playing in the background. And his English, while you can understand it, half the time you're sitting there like, it's rambling again,
Right. We could do some AI with him, make him.
Oh man, yeah. You sent me that Tuchel thing. At first I was listening. I'm like, holy shit, is this real? And I read the actual caption for it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, it's troll football. I get it.
But I would love if he really said this. We should play this for the fluff section.
We'll start it now. It's in the fluff section, but yeah, we can start with that.
Okay, let's do it. All right, for the 91 of you here, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. Thank you for being here so early in the first 10 minutes. Usually don't get near 100 until, these days we do. We do appreciate that. We got almost to 400 during the live feed at the very end.
Yeah.
People were joining up when we were about to cut off. We're like, why are all these people coming in now? Because the game's over and they want to hear me be pissed off and rant. That's my guess. That would be my guess if I had to guess.
Speaking of those epic rants and everything like that, I tagged you in it. But Lawless has gone on his own epic rant. Very, very tamed, Boomer Richie style, but it's there. I think you're rubbing off on him.
He didn't say anything about there was no Ferrera jizz all over the wall.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, it's tamed.
it's pretty tame.
He went off on it.
You can't go on a good rant without using the word jizz. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Or threatening to stab somebody in the eye with the ice pick.
He makes me want to stab myself in the skull with an ice pick.
In fairness, Stu was in studio when this all occurred, so he probably didn't want to necessarily throw him under the bus.
I will say this: Stu's right in their argument today.
I agree. Yeah, we'll listen to those later on. So, here's Tuchel talking about the English managers, and I start playing this, and I go, "Oh my god, they're pundit or not the pundits, but the media over there is asking a really hard question."
Yeah.
You know? So,
what would your message be though to those fans who would have preferred the England team to be managed by an English coach?
Well, my message to them would be that they are fucking idiots. There is no English manager on my level. There are only 3 English managers in the entire Premier League. Sean Dyche, Gary O'Neill, and that bum Eddie Howe. None of them have won a major trophy. No Premier League titles, no Champions League, nothing. They're losers just like that clown Gareth Southgate. But Thomas Tuchel is a winner. I've won every trophy in club football. So who gives a shit what's on my passport?
No, I wish you would have really said that.
I love that AI made him talk about himself in third person.
Yes. Thomas Tuchel is a winner. If he had really said this, I was like you the first time I watched it. I didn't see the little thing in the bottom there.
No, right here, yeah. Made with AI.
My first instinct was this isn't real, even though. But I was still like, could it be possible? He's German. They don't pull any punches. I'm like, still, that would be crazy if he actually said that. But he did not really say that, people. But I wish he had, because it is funny as hell. It's awesome. And I mean, I think that there's still a lot of British critics and commentators who came out today, including the one guy can hardly understand most of the time. That's on there with Thierry Henry and Charlie Davies on the EPL Cup. Anyhow, I forgot his name. Jamie Carragher, right? Okay. And he's like, yeah, I think this is a bad move. It should have been an English manager. Okay, like who? How? Really? Maybe. But I don't think we would have heard any of these complaints at all if it were Klopp. I don't think you would have heard a single person make a peep if it were Klopp. Yeah. So it's not so much that he's German, and they're complaining about him not being English, but if it were Klopp, you couldn't come out if you're Jamie Carragher and say, well, yeah, okay, but I'd rather have Howe. Really? You would? No, you wouldn't. You want Klopp. Everybody wants Klopp. Klopp's probably one of the best managers in the world outside of Mr. Man City. So you're going to go with Klopp and you're not going to complain about it. I just think that a lot of people, especially after the Bayern stint and the Chelsea fallout and the way that didn't end so well, are probably a little cynical about what Tuchel can do, whether or not he's too stubborn to make whether or not he has favorites that he'll never let go. Those are things you got to worry about Tuchel about. Whether he changes fucking formation every other match, like he did with Chelsea.
Heavy rotation. Yeah.
Heavy rotation. Those are things that can be a concern if you're but not that he's German. Seriously. It doesn't really make that much difference.
I think Tuchel's definitely benefited from managing, quality sides, top sides.
Sure, PSG, Bayern, but he didn't do good at Bayern. That was not good. Chelsea started out great and then faded, after the Champions League win. So a lot of people don't think that Tuchel is a good manager. I'm not somebody who enjoys watching the way he plays. I don't like the way he sets up. I don't like all the fiddle fucking around game to game. It's personally not my favorite, and I don't like what he did to Pulisic. Yep. So I got kind of personal bias against him.
I agree wholeheartedly with what you just said there.
All right. Chelsea shit themselves. Yeah, they kind of did.
Derek, you might have noticed that I'm currently sitting in the office of the 9th best league in the world.
Yeah, I saw that list, and I thought, ninth. I'm not sure about ninth. Because if we look at the English Championship just below it, I'd say the English Championship generally better than Major League Soccer. But here's the thing. They only judge that based on the top 10 teams of every league. But then again, they have the Danish league above the Eredivisie. And I'm thinking, really? Having the Danish league above the Eredivisie and Liga MXs? I don't know about that. I really don't. And how does the German Bundesliga 2? Where's the Bundesliga 2? Where's two Bundesliga?
There's Serie B right there.
Yeah, but
here you go. There's Zoe.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. I wouldn't have called it Zwei. It's two German Bundesliga. There's a 2 before the Bundesliga part. German 2. Bundesliga.
The reason why the Danish Super League is above Liga MX is Liga MX has never been in the Europa Champions League, so because they suck that bad.
Yeah, I just don't see how the top 10 teams in Argentina aren't better than Major League Soccer either. Maybe they aren't. Maybe we could figure this out a way to I just don't know all the metrics. All I know is they used the top 10 teams from each league and compared them and said, with all a bunch of other metrics, and said, we're the 9.
You're right about the Turkish Superliga. Beamar in the chat.
Can I ask you this, Brett? How is the Belgian Pro League better than the Eredivisie? Top 10 teams. How? How is that possible? It's not possible. This is not a serious
We're talking about 6 or 5 different spots difference.
I mean,
that's a pretty big difference there.
You're talking about PSV. You're talking about Ajax, Feyenoord. Like, at what point are any of the teams of the top 4 teams in Belgium, Anderlecht, blah, 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 Genk, whatever you will pick them, are they better than any? No, they're not. No, they're not. They're nowhere. I don't know how this list was created, but I think it was created by half-wits.
Yeah, it said something.
This is an insane list. So anybody living on this list and Mike M. Steele says League MX is better than MLS, except for Leagues Cup. Yes, they are. Generally, they have been. Now, Leagues Cup is only played in one country. How fair is that? Probably not very fair. I think you would need to use the Champions Cup if you really want to get a feeling of how good home and away the Mexican and MLS teams are. So I think this whole list, whoever made it, no offense to you, but I think your whatever algorithm you use sucks.
It's nice seeing League put Portugal back in their place.
Well, it's just some weird shit, Brett. That's all I got to say. Let's see. We got English Premier League, Serie A, Germany, La Liga.
Sorry.
Where's Portugal?
Not,
7?
7, yeah.
Okay. But still, Major League Soccer 9. That's pushing it. That's really pushing it hard. Having the Eredivisie below Danish and Belgian Pro League just shows me your fucking algorithm sucks ball, donkey dick. That's what that does. It sucks donkey dick.
I guess that's not to say that every team in Eredivisie is
no, there are horrible teams in that league.
But yeah. It's just
Feyenoord, Ajax, and PSV have done in the last 5 years count for something? I don't even know how many years they took into account. That's the other thing.
I'm just confused they don't have the Scottish Premier League in here.
They didn't even make it, did it?
Nope.
Well, that's probably realistic.
Probably.
I mean,
yeah.
Probably not. Yeah, I don't know. The Czech First League Really?
That's what I was about to ask. Is the Czech League that much better than the Scottish Premier League? I mean,
No.
I guess when you get past obviously they're two bigs. I mean, can most people name teams from the Czech League?
Isn't Hajduk Split the best team in Czech First League?
So that's the only team I know. I mean, I might know other names if I heard them.
And one of their best players, a 19-year-old American?
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems weird to me, but okay. You know, you could argue about this all day, but I can definitely say this list sucks. So, okay. I mean, if you're taking the top 10 Czech teams, really? After like the top 3 Czech teams, don't they all start sucking? Like,
they start doing something, yeah.
Pretty mediocre. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch a whole lot of the Czech League. All I do is look at the results of Europa League and Champions League. I mean, I don't look at religiously because, as you well know, after the Champions League, I think all the other fucking leagues and championships they have come up with, what is it? Europa Conference League below Europa League? What the fuck? How many levels of this horse shit do we need? And by the way, how many games do these players have to play? We're getting to the point where the Players Association is begging FIFA, please, God, can you reduce the number of fucking tournaments and games? Oh, no, sorry, we can't. We're going to add actually the Club World Cup with like 48 teams. Enjoy that.
I think some of the big
I'm
boy
exaggerating.
I think some of the big boy teams just need to send like their academies.
They need
Club
to.
World Cup. But however, that the double-edged sword there, because obviously the Club World Cup doesn't really mean much to a lot of them. They're happy if they win, of course, you know. But I think as a whole, most of those players would prefer to be, you know, resting over the off season than going and playing in the U.S. For a month.
And people are wondering why, you know, our man Pulisic went home for a break, and we'll get into that. But you know,
I mean, so like I was saying, it's a double-edged sword as far as saying, hey, you know, the big teams should just send their academy teams and be done with it. But then again, if Arsenal were to go out and lose to some Oceanic team, I don't know if that's even a thing, really, quite frankly. But let's just say they do. Then at that point, it's a headline. And does the the EPL sides or the Serie A, Bundesliga, etc., do they really want to deal with those type of headlines?
What's Larry going on about? Now I'm a dumb American about what? I didn't say anything great about the SPL.
I made the joke about SPL, and I think Derek agreed that it's after the first two, there's nobody really.
Dumb American, dumb American. I'm a dumb American.
But the big question that, and he refers to maybe your comment about the Czech, because you said, is it any better really than the Czech League in that sense?
I don't know. I don't watch the Czech League.
Yeah.
Like, where am I going to watch that?
You really didn't make a statement about it either, because you asked a question.
I asked a question, Larry / Johnny. Jeez. Believe me, I think I've proven on many occasions that I'm not dumb. I might be old and thought like I'm losing my mind and I'm getting old and can't remember shit, but I'm not a dumb guy. All right, anyhow, but that's up to you. If you want to think I'm dumb, you can do that. Nah, that's not nice though. Not nice, Johnny.
So, here says
dumb American,
North Korea dominating the women's soccer. Obviously, they beat the U.S. women's U20s in the semifinals, I think it was. And then they just beat Mexico in the U17s 3-0. So.
He was a dumb American. All right. My voice is so gone. Holy shit. That's a great, by the way, that's not the song. It's Young American by David Bowie that I'm singing there. I just thought I'd throw dumb in there.
I knew that calling you a dumb American would get it.
Oh, Larry, don't worry about it.
And then he says, like calling Brett a redhead. No, that's just defamation of character there, Larry. You got to watch yourself. You might get some papers about that.
Yeah, I know. You can call me dumb. I don't really fucking care that much. I just
you can call Derek dumb all you want, but don't you dare call me a redhead.
It's fine. I'm fine. Trust me. You all right, Derek? Says Tom. Yeah, I'm sick. So is Brett. Brett had a fever today. We've both been coughing up bullshit all fucking day. It sucks.
That's why I downed about 4 shots worth of bourbon right now.
And we didn't even give it to each other. We got it separately. Like, I haven't been in the same room with Brett since you had dinner at my parents' house.
No. Since the World Cup cartoon.
Yes, that's right. Yep. We haven't been in the same room. I mean, we're literally in the same room. We might as well be in the same room. All right.
Yeah. Derek lives 15 minutes or so away from me, and I haven't seen him in a little over 2 years.
Not in person.
Yeah.
Don't I see you like 6 hours a week anyhow on this venue? Like, how much more do you want to see him?
I see you more than I see my kids.
You're like, I don't want to see any more Derek. Please, God, make him go away. All right. All right, what's we got?
Oh, we got some dual nap panic here.
Dual nap panic. Do not panic. Cap them now. Cap them now.
Oh, you cannot read that.
By the way, Broken Furnace says, watch out for those severe sinus infections. Took me months to get past one early this year. This has been going on for a while for me too. And it's I thought I was over it. Then I had the big show in Bloomington, and I partied hard like it was 1999, right? For a whole weekend, staying up till 4:35 in the morning. So don't do that if you're, because then I got sick again. I thought I was getting over it. Bam, back to sick.
I use Simply Saline. And then blow.
Jack,
That usually keeps it pretty much in tow. But yeah, this one just got the best of me, and it was getting the kids too, actually.
Yeah, it's bad. Jack says Derek's the bottom, then he says maybe Brett. Actually, I think it's probably Brett since he's into the pegging. If that were to happen, but it's not going to happen. So, I mean, you guys can imagine it if you want to, but Brett and I are not having sex anytime soon, ever. So that's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
Derek's not my type.
Yeah, Brett's not my type. I know that hurts for him to hear, but it's true.
I mean, I can hear the lying in your voice, Derek, but
I bet you do.
Let's read this dual nap panic.
No, really, I want to hammer you in the asshole. All right, anyhow.
That's getting flipped.
Yeah, 11 yanks. Y'all, we might need to let Koleosho go. The man would rather sit on the bench for the Italy U21s than play for the country he was born and raised in. That's his prerogative, but we don't need to be begging him. He seems clear on what he wants. No, we do not need to be begging Koleosho. No, we absolutely do not. We shouldn't be begging anybody at this point. I'm sick of that shit. I'm not begging or sucking anyone's dick to come play with us. They just need to want to play for us. And if they don't, they don't. Let him go ride pine at the Italy's U21s if that's what he really wants to do. No big deal. No big deal.
Yeah.
I agree.
Here's the big question, though, Derek, because if he does choose Italy in this situation and then finds out that he's not getting the senior call-ups he wants, and then he wants to, follow the one-time switch over to the U.S.
Well, here's the thing.
Are you going to be happy, or
this under 21 camp may have sent him a wake-up call? If you're Koleosho, you're playing for the Italy U21s, and you're not doing much more than riding mostly pine. I know we got some time, but I think it's time for you to look inward, really.
Whoa.
Inward.
You can't say the N-word, Derek.
Inward.
Yeah, you can't say that.
Oh, shut up. Nobody's saying the N-word around here. All right, you got to look inward, look at the mirror and say, really, did they really think I'm that great? Because I'm not even playing for the youth teams that much. Yeah. Well, and then he might, as you say, pick us. How do we feel about that? Right now, I'm not feeling that great about it, honestly. I'm not feeling that great about it. I mean, I feel like we've asked, we've kept in touch with him. We said, do you want to come? And
don't come.
When you want to come,
And then more from the Bloodhound Gang than actual. Is that Wilco?
No, that is.
I'm trying to think of that song that they're talking about in that.
It's a song called "Relax, Don't Do It When You Want to Come to It." Relax, don't do it when you want to come. You remember that one?
Yeah, I know the song because a Bloodhound Gang utilized the.
It's Freddie and the something, as Johnny's saying. Frankie goes to Holloway. There we go. That's it. Yep. Frankie goes. Thank you, Jackie D.
Sounds like a movie. Sounds like a porn, actually.
It's a gay porn. All right.
Hey, you know what? There could be a woman named Frankie.
No. He's a guy. He is actually gay in real life.
Oh, fair enough.
Totally known at the time. The song was about relax, don't do it when you want to come. Like, yeah, hold off.
Relax, go through it.
No, relax, don't do it when you want to come. Like, chill out. There's more of a party to go. You're coming too early. There you go.
Oh. Okay.
The song was banned in the UK, correct, Alex Gaben. Not in the United States. Played plenty of times in the 80s when I was a kid. So apparently coming is not a big deal here, but I think in the lyric sheet they put C-O-M-E, not C-U-M. So there you go. That's why it passed.
Yeah, only Madonna can talk about that topic. Come on, guys.
Jack Pineda says, we love to come here. Yes, we do. Just all over the place. All right, what else we got? Pete got this one right.
Yeah. We extended our hand, and we move on. Go from there. I really don't have a lot. I know it's only 30 minutes into it, and you're going to hit the main topic here. Let's talk about the Mexico game, I guess. You want to go over some of these tweets you passed my way, or do you want to talk about the game first?
Well, can I just say this first?
You could try.
I had a certain person PM me, say nasty things about me.
Nice.
Say also that
I may have gotten that same PM or DM.
We just write the coattails of Pete and Tact. No, we don't.
Oh, I didn't get that same one.
No, we don't. We get very little from Pete and Tact, and we don't ask for much. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure people associate our show as a part, like we're friends with them, and they know we're friends with them. But our show is completely fucking different from both of their shows. We're not riding on anybody's. We do our thing, as we always have, and we were around a long time before they were. So, yeah, go suck a big one.
I mean,
all right.
All you have to do is look at my Twitter handle, and you'll see over the last week, I've disagreed with Tact
and Pete.
And Pete.
Yep.
And I hold nothing back. I'm just, I mean, I claimed, I forgot what it was. I said, disaster's kind of harsh.
Yes, so, I agreed with you.
Yeah. So I will disagree. You know what? He's welcome to have his opinion. Pete and Tact, this one was directed towards Tact in that sense, but it was something about, what was it talking about Sarge? Because we're gonna go over his ratings for the window as a whole, and I still can't get over the whole Sarge rating he gives him. But whatever. I
don't get that one either, and I disagree with both of them on that too. We'll get to it. People are gonna say we're hard for Sargent, and we just want to see his jizz all over the wall. I don't think that's the case, but we'll get into it.
I don't know. I think I was pretty much, down the line. I bashed Sarge for missing his golden opportunity in Panama. Said he needs to put that away, otherwise he may not get called back in, especially when Balogun gets healthy. And then I also talked about how the rest of the game wasn't bad for him.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah. It was all good. Well, it wasn't good. But like to judge him in the Mexico game, as we're getting into it, for not getting anything service, which he didn't get any of, the whole game was them plugging us in the asshole while he was in. So I don't know what he's supposed to do except go back and play some defense.
I got a good clip from Call It What You Want, where Davies goes off on Sargent and Conrad has to come to his defense. In the Mexico game.
Yeah.
Okay. And he didn't do anything. He goes to the entire match. Well, he needs service.
Yeah, you should play that clip now. Are we going to go through each of the players and do a rating?
We could. I got our lineup built, the lineup pulled up, and we could just pull them up and talk about them, I guess.
All right.
This is the thing. You said, hey, player ratings. I'm like, God, we got to do player ratings on the fucking Mexico game? This is going to be
Yeah. Here's the categories that we're going to be using tonight. And I know I didn't send this to you, so I apologize. So here are the categories the players can fit into. You ready? Didn't suck. Sucked lightly. Sucked hard. Sucked like a whore. Those are the categories tonight for the players. Didn't didn't suck, sucked lightly, sucked hard, sucked like a whore. There we go. Those were the categories for the players tonight in the ratings. There are only 4 categories. And here we're going to go through. Do we have the starting lineup? Oh, that's just genius. Here we go. Matt Turner. The goals weren't really his fault. I'd say he sucked lightly. His passing still sucked.
I think he may have favored on the first goal a little too much to the side, but I'm no goalkeeper, so I can't really criticize that aspect. And he did get a finger touch to it. Just was, if he was like one step in, he would have gotten that. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. I can't really base something because I never really played that position.
Yeah, it's lightly for me.
Sucked lightly, especially his distribution. That was both games too.
Yeah,
so he was good. I thought I did well in the first game, but in this Mexican game, which is what we're talking about, since all of it sucked, we gotta say he sucked less.
Lightly,
sorry.
Yeah. So it sucked, didn't suck, sucked lightly because nobody played well. Didn't suck, sucked lightly, sucked hard.
I think it's
sucked like a dirty man whore. That's the last one. Okay. Sucked like a dirty man whore. That's the worst one. All right, Scally, I'll let you start.
What came after sucked less?
Well, it's didn't suck, sucked lightly, sucked hard, sucked like a dirty man whore.
Sucked lightly, I guess.
Yeah, I was almost gonna say he didn't suck. Like I probably would give him like a C. I think he was He wasn't like horrible, but he wasn't good. I say suck lightly. That's
overall performance was so bad. I don't know if I could give anybody a didn't suck.
All right, suck lightly. That's cool.
Yeah.
Robinson, he sucked kind of hard in this one.
He sucked hard, yeah.
Yeah, he sucked.
I think he fell asleep on the Ream goal, which we'll talk about Ream in just a second. On the one where Ream got dispossessed, Robinson was asleep. His man got the ball and he was able to turn. Robinson overcommitted and he put it away.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the second goal, which wasn't squarely on Robinson, as we're going to talk about Ream here too. I think who sucked hard.
Ream sucked hard. Sorry, he sucked hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he should have cleared it right away on the goal, second goal.
Get rid of it. You're pressured in the box. Get rid of it. Just toe poke it clear.
Yep. Get it out of there. The midfield sucked something heavy. So we're talking like suck like a dirty man whore for most of this. But I just think the reason the back three were so pressured is the midfield was just fucking dominated.
They were absolutely overrun.
So I'm giving Busio and Morris if not a sucked hard, but in some cases sucked like a dirty man whore.
Yeah. No, yeah. I agree. That I thought our midfield was one of the big issues. We got overrun, and that's about it. Quite frankly,
made no adjustments,
dude. We'll get to that.
Yeah, and then Musa, I will just say sucked lightly.
Oh, really? He was invisible 90% of the time.
That's true.
I think he sucked hard.
Do you?
Yes.
I was going to be nice and say lightly.
Nope. I don't know if I saw anything from Musa that I could say, hey, not bad.
All right. How about Robinson?
I might be jaded just from having to watch that match, though, so I don't know.
That's true. We watched it live. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Robinson started off good. I'm not sure I can blame that much on him. I would just say maybe the one player that didn't suck.
I'll give you that. Yeah. I like Robinson. I like what he brought. But still, I mean, it wasn't great by any means, but then didn't suck isn't necessarily a glowing, reaction,
Yeah, exactly. Tillman was a ghost.
Yeah, I mean, well, he sucked hard to sucked like $2 horror or whatever it was. Somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. Because, I mean, we're going to talk about Tillman in the end here, but, I mean, it just, in this situation, we were getting overrun. He looked lost.
Yep.
Looked slow to react.
And people are going to say he looks lackadaisical. He looks lackadaisical for PSV. Okay? That's just who he is. He's a languid, sort of moving around. He reserves his energy and then he bursts. I think that you shouldn't judge him by what you see there. I don't think it's because he doesn't care. Don't say that. I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
I think he looked lost. I think he looked like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do out here.
Yeah.
He just looked completely confused. Like, where am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to receive the ball? Oh, I got to play this much defense? This sucks. I just think that he wanted to be an outlet, and there was no such thing in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's probably looking at it like, I really got to go back for this because there's already 4 you fuckers in that midfield.
So I'd say he sucked hard.
5 because of Aronson, though. Who, Tillman still? Yeah, like I said, he's somewhere between sucking hard and sucked like a $2 man or.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. But then there's a whole new category for Aronson. And it's beyond sucked hard like a man whore. I would say that was more like sucking hard like a man whore and taking it up the rear at the same time. He looked fucking god-awful. You know how many turnovers he had in this game?
Well, all of them.
19.
So I think there's certainly are. I mean, he was definitely not good. I'm not going to try to make an excuse for him or anything like that, but there were definitely fouls in that match where they were legit from behind takedowns that I'm like, that would have been called a foul with a different ref, you know? But then there were some where we saw the Brendan of old where he just, got lightly touched and so
yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to detect. And quite frankly, either he needed to realize that the ref's not calling shit, or Poch needed to realize that they're not calling shit and Brendan's getting tossed around like a $2 hooker.
Yes.
And get his ass out.
It's not good.
But instead he played the entire match, so who cares?
Yeah, this was a very poor game. And then we've got Sargent. Okay. He didn't do anything. But all right, did Vasquez come in later and do some things?
So
sure.
I had this reaction with tact as well, though. I'm going to talk about Sargent first, and we'll talk about Vasquez here because there is a reason, quite frankly. I think Sargent is right around that suck hard. His touches weren't quite there. The few touches he touched the ball, he didn't get any service. I understand that. We had no offensive pressure, and 90% of the time he was out on the pitch. Hard to blame him on that, but I mean, it wasn't clean enough for him in that sense.
No,
so
it wasn't.
Label him as suck hard in the situation.
I'm going with you. Sucking hard, for sure.
Talking about Vasquez, because I think Tack brought it up that once Vasquez came in, he was able to do stuff. Well, yeah, he was able to do something because they brought in Zendejas and Wright, which opened up the play a little bit more.
Didn't they play almost a 4-4-2?
Well, I was saying that during the game and before the game, that when Wright came in the Panama match, he was basically sitting up there with Pepe.
Because he was tucking in so tight.
He was never really coming back the way that Pulisic was coming back.
Right.
So, no, I think in that situation, the player or the personnel changed. Some cogs were removed. Musa, who was non-existent, and Tillman, who was non-existent, got removed. Put in for players who were busting their ass. Now, not the biggest Zendejas fan by any means, but the heart that he brought in that match was needed desperately.
Yeah,
and that's all I could say about him in that match was that he had heart. Not necessarily talking about his skill with the ball by any means, because he didn't have any of that. And yes, I know he created one opportunity, which is more than 90% of the team out there, but it was a different energy that we had for the first 63 minutes.
I thought we generally looked aimless, confused, and you could say there wasn't a whole lot of heart, but I think even like Brendan Aronson always gives his heart, but he just ran around like a chicken with his head cut off.
Well,
and
he'll dribble one or two players and then get stuck or knocked down.
Right.
What does that actually do for us?
Nothing. Like, he did nothing for us. That was the worst performance I've ever seen from Brendan Aronson in a fucking game ever.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, you might be able to find some Leeds matches where he played a horrendous game.
Yeah.
That has to be, and I hope Aronson looks himself in the mirror and went, wow, I suck. You even saw you saw Scally yelling at him. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Or what he yelled at him at one point, one touch. What are you doing? Off a throw-in. One touch back to me. He was pissed, dude. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You held up the ball. They just took it from you. And you fell over like you were a feather. So, yeah, that was horrible. By the way, for the 169 of you who were here about 5 minutes ago, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your grandma. We are up to about 178. We do appreciate it. Thanks to all of you out here. Aronson was an embarrassment. I hope he looks himself in the mirror and says something and does something about it. He's known. That was not Dark Brendan. And he's a fucking spaz, dude. He gets the ball and he's just a spaz. Slow down. Lift your head up.
I think once we brought Tessman in was the big change.
That was calm.
Yeah, it slowed down a bit. He was a bigger body in the midfield, wasn't necessarily tossed about.
Yeah.
So I think that was needed. Again, this is going to come down to my Poch rating in the sense that my player management in this match, I think, was sort of set. Like, I think they were all designated subs. Like, okay, you're going to go in at this point. You're going to go in this point.
Sure.
Wasn't necessarily paying attention to what was happening on the. He may have been paying attention, but he didn't alter his game plan from what was happening on the pitch.
No, he didn't.
If he was focusing that hard, along with Musa, along with Tillman, I mean, I would have taken Aronson out and pushed Musa into the middle. Hope to wake him up.
Yeah,
do something like that. I mean, but I know we're playing with a depleted roster, but you got to change it up a little bit here. Some things have got to be different.
Yeah. I mean, to sum it up, I don't think Poch made many adjustments. He brought in, as you said, people he had already planned to bring in, whether the game was 2-1, 1-1, whatever. I think we would have seen the same subs. But there were people who he's got to look at now and go, I really put all my faith in this guy, Brendan Aronson. I played him 2 games. In that second game, and that first game, by the way, versus Panama, outside of that tiki-taka with Pulisic that led to the goal, he played bad in that game too. He played atrociously. Absolutely the worst I've ever seen versus Mexico.
Okay, I was going to say, again, I thought Panama played well. Well, not well. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Better than what we saw against Mexico. He still made errors and stuff like that, but he was better in that match. But in this match, he was given the keys. He was the Pulisic in this role.
Well, there are 2 Pulisics too, because we played a double 10.
Well, no, I'm just saying we only had we played double 10 with Pulisic and Aronson last time too. But I think the keys were given to Aronson to be more like Pulisic, be the Pulisic in this game because Pulisic's not there.
On the other side, yeah. Oh, yeah, on Pulisic's side, yeah.
Yeah. Well, just the rule. I mean, because I think I don't know, just more. He wanted to keep Aronson and said, "Hey, here are the keys. Go at it." He rammed it in. He rammed to the rail.
He needs to stop doing coke before the games. That's all I can think of. Or whatever he's taking, he needs to stop taking it, and he just needs to settle the fuck down a little. Jesus Christ. PD has an Aiden Morris doll he snuggles with.
Does Pete like Aiden Morris?
Well, he is very critical of Aiden Morris while he was in MLS, saying, I don't know what will happen with Aiden Morris when he has to make quicker decisions, has less time to make decisions on the ball. I think Aiden Morris has certainly proven he can handle the championship. He's done very well. All 3 games I've watched of him at Middlesbrough, he is their field general, and he is the guy they kick it to. They kick it to Aiden Morris to start the offense, to start the counter, to start anything. Aiden Morris is the guy. I will say this about Aiden Morris. He's not the fastest guy in the world, and that was going to hurt him sometime, somewhere against somebody. Yeah. And he's just slow of foot. He just really is.
So I've definitely made it apparently known that I'm not the biggest Aiden Morris fan. Up until last window I was like, oh, maybe his time at Middlesbrough, he's adjusted and he's doing better now. But then we saw this window. He had an okay game against Panama, but in this game he got overrun, he got pressured, and his thought process faltered. Like, just he freaked out, made bad passes.
He was bad against Mexico, dude.
But I can't blame all of his missed touches and bad decisions on him. We talked about it during the game. Turner rolled out the ball to him, and he had two guys sitting on his shoulders, one on each side. It's a fucking angel and demon type of thing going on there, and he rolled it out to him. What the fuck is he going to do at that point?
Well, the other problem was, it just didn't seem, even though we were playing 2-10s, that he could figure out how to outlet the ball to Tillman or Aronson when he got it.
Robinson, for that matter.
Or anybody.
Yeah.
He looked the whole team looked confused and bewildered. And they just ended up playing defense for most of the game. So take that for what you will, but it was not a great performance from Aiden Morris. Like, as we said, I think we put him in the sucked hard.
Yeah, just sucked like a $2 whore, that range.
It's in there. It's in that range for sure.
It was a poor fucking match.
It was bad. And no, Johnny, do not jack off to Aiden Morris. All right. Bimmy says Tyler, Johnny, Maloney, Testament are all better options. Morris shouldn't be called up again. He probably will be if he continues to play well with Middlesbrough. Can you bring that back up again?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I thought you were done reading that.
I was reading it, but I just want to go through it. Yeah, Tyler's going to be injured for a long time. We don't really know. I think it's going to be a minor injury for Johnny. Maloney should be
real quick. Going back to Tyler real quick, because he's supposed to be back.
Supposedly.
And I know Pete had said on the November window, I want Tyler there. And I'm like, fuck no, he's just back from injury. I'm not calling his ass in right now. He's got to get a string of games before I call his injured ass in.
Yeah, he needs to play for Bournemouth. He needs to play.
And if he's healthy, he will. I mean, he showed that he did when he was back. He returned. He played one game, got injured again.
We've seen this story before with him back with Leipzig when he had the sports hernia. And I don't know exactly what this is. So I hope it's not that, or if something like that where, you think you're healthy. We just saw it with Reyna, and then it's worse than it was before. Let's hope that's not the case. I was going to go back and go through some of the other players he mentioned.
It was Johnny and Testman and Maloney.
Johnny, also small injury, we hope. Let's see. I would have liked to see them this window, but no. Testman, we did get to see. Why not pair Testman and Busio together? They played together.
They clearly know each other, yeah.
Constantly. I know that Tack wants to play Testman as a center back. I think the better natural candidate to try out there is Maloney.
I agree with that too.
That
was our decision.
Right. I think Maloney is the more natural. He played center back in all his youth clubs and right back. He's a natural defender. He practically plays a third center back at Heidenheim. Why not give him a shot at center back? Because he's got an amazing soccer IQ. He knows how to shut down lanes. He's a smart as hell player. Give him a shot. Call him in. He's not fast enough, says Fumar.
Yeah. Talking about Morris.
Oh, Morris is slow. Yeah. He's slow. Go ahead.
I was gonna say. I think I've said this from the beginning of the camp announcement, everything like that. I think Maloney's going to get called in next camp. Hard to continue to play week in, week out in the Bundesliga, top half of the Bundesliga, and not get a look.
Yeah, it's weird.
If your big thing you're harping on is that I need my players to be playing week in, week out. So where Maloney plays, if it's the 6 or if it's center back, that's up to Poch. I think you can play either one perfectly fine, but we're hurt on center back. So
yeah, you're playing 3 center backs in your current formation. Bring in a guy like Maloney. He fucking knows how to play defense. Just give it a go.
I would have Maloney as my center of the 3 center backs, and I would have him pinch up a little bit.
I'd agree.
Basically, what he does for Heidenheim, basically.
Yep, I would agree. I think that would be really smart to try. I hope we get to see it. I think that means That would be smart. Anyhow, Hugo Perez, who we love here on the show, Mexico won the character and individual with character and individual plays, not with great football. That's true. Their attitude was excellent, fighting for every ball, but also we were missing key players, and Pochettino is still evaluating getting to know players. Let's relax. I would agree with that. There is no point in any of us being Kasey Keller. What Kasey is doing right now is so fucking hypocritical.
Salting the earth is what he's doing.
We saw horrible performances under Berhalter, and Kasey Keller did nothing but flip his dick underneath the desk. That's all he did. Okay? He never criticized Berhalter that much. He was so gentle on Berhalter the whole time. Fuck him. He's got no right at this point to be this upset about fucking goddamn the second game for Pochettino coming out of the box with 13 to 18 injuries of players that he can't even bring in. So fuck you, Kasey Keller, you fucking pussy cunt. You had all of 5.5 years to complain about something Greg was doing, and you couldn't do it because you got a vagina for a man place. All right? So you couldn't do it? You couldn't. By the way, that's an offense to vaginas everywhere. He was such a fucking pussy-ass cunt. He couldn't come up with a fucking critical commentary about Greg or what Greg was doing. It was so minor and so nice, and he just like patted it gently. Oh, here's Greg's balls. I'm gonna like
best match, but he'll bring it up next game.
I'm gonna lightly pat Greg's balls. Oh, let me lick them. Okay, now I'm going to make a commentary. Yeah, that's what he did for 5.5 years. So fuck you for being such now a hypocrite, a fucking hypocrite with such a bias. It's so obvious to see that you are good friends, probably bosom buddies with fucking Greg Berhalter. Like, where was the criticism for the last 5.5 years? Where was the criticism? Fuck you, Colin Reese. We didn't say anything about Pochettino. I'm talking about Kasey Keller right now, had no commentary for 5.5 years. Nothing. And now he's just so upset. He's out of his mind upset. Whatever, dude. Come on. Give me a break. And then we had Twellman today with his post saying, what did he say? He was like awful, or this is disgusting, or it's atrocious, or it's
no. So Twellman said this has been a disaster. But after doing some research, and I even called it out, and I tagged him in it too because he was that was at halftime of the Mexico match. He was talking about the Mexico match.
Okay. Because
I said, hey, I should have dug into this and find out what he's talking about, because it sounded like he was talking about the entire window. But in fact, given the time frame, he was talking about that match against Mexico, and it was at halftime.
That's fair.
And then he jokingly said, "Yeah, you need to do a little more research next time with a bunch of crying faces." And I go, "Yeah, I get hit up on that once a month. I get hit up on like a tweet that's like older, and I don't look at the timestamp, and I react, and I'm like, it's gonna get me again. I know it. I guarantee it."
Yeah. He says he's right to talk shit because Poch sucks. No, he's not allowed to talk shit, because he let a slacker-ass piece of shit fucking taking players to the zoo manager for 5.5 years. He didn't say a single critical thing. And now he's super critical. Okay. All we're asking for is consistency. We were consistent. We called that game at Mexico. We called it live. We called it atrocious, horrible. We criticized Poch for not making any real changes in formation or play style. But at the same time, we also realize this is his second game out of the box. So I'm going to give him more time. I'm not going to be all over Poch's asshole this early. Just not going to do it. I gave Berhalter plenty of time. I gave him time. I wasn't all over his asshole either right away. I let him try to develop something.
Here you're kind of jumping into this. I had to go find the specific tweet. But U.S. men's national team rep says, respectfully, it's the second game. And he had a severely handcuffed squad. I'd save the alarm bells for a while.
Yeah,
and those are all good points. But as I said, I think it's fine to criticize. Some of the players came in with knocks. Poli was planned release. We were plagued with injuries. That's no knock on him. But criticizing how the Mexico game went is fair game.
I agree.
Just realize that the sky is not falling and leave the criticism on that particular game performance, basically. Just like a player having one bad performance, a manager can too.
Yeah, I mean, we got to be balanced here. As we said, this is a team straight out the box. And by the way, the box he got was full of a bunch of B team players or secondary players. So I'm not going to have to just immediately judge him on that. I'm going to give him some more fucking time, but we're still criticizing him for that game. So, people out there who don't think we're not criticizing Poch for not making any adjustments or trying something different in the second half, we did. We called it live. Go watch it live. We were saying this is one of the most atrocious.
Yeah.
We were saying it was one of the most atrocious games by a U.S. team we had ever seen versus Mexico.
And the thing is, whether you have your actual A squad, and there was a whole debate as far as calling a team an A squad or a B squad or a C squad, and I even got into a point where somebody was telling me to stop calling people casual fans. But there are casual fans who don't know it, because I brought up the epic rant that you had where you had to deal with your siblings and people, hey, where's Pulisic? Where's Weston? Well, Lawless told him this. So I had kind of this huge debate. I'm like, and I've been told, hey, stop calling people casuals. I'm like, well, there are some casual fans out there who don't follow the game as closely as everybody else here on Twitter. And you know what? They're going to ask questions.
Yes.
It's your job as a pundit, as an announcer, a game-by-game breakdown, everything, whatever, to explain, well, you know what? Pulisic couldn't be here for X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So instead, we have more or less an all-MLS squad plus some benched Euros. Or whatever. Call it what it is.
So, in my case, I have my brother and my parents who are casuals. And I have band members. I have people that I've known for years. So, in all, I have about 10 people, usually because they know I have a soccer show and they know I've been following this since I was a kid because they've known me a long time, who send me, they're all casuals. So, I get the casual texts from them.
It's not a derogatory term. There are some people who literally just turn it on. Oh, USA's playing. I can watch this.
Casual is not a bad term. That's what they are. If it were a bad term, what do you think I want to offend my brother and my parents? They're just not doing, they're not living and dying like like we do with this every fucking week. They're not tracking the US players abroad every week like we do. So they write me and they go, hey, why? I thought you said this is a good manager. What's going on here? And if I explain to them and I say, well, this is not the A team. You realize the Pulisic's not on here and McKenny's gone. Adams is hurt. And I just listened out to him. I said, so let's just calm down. Everybody relax. I wouldn't take this game and make a huge judgment yet. Unless you think Poch sucks, which some people do outright of the box, right? Like Colin thinks Poch just sucks. And if you have that bias immediately, then everything he does is going to suck. But we did criticize Poch for that game versus Mexico. It's not like we sat back and we're like, oh, yeah, this is all fine. No, we watched that game and it was blasphemous. It was a horrible game. Worse than I thought it could possibly be with even our B team or our B plus team or whatever the fuck you want to call it. That was atrocious. That's what that was. You and Derek are casuals. You don't even watch Real Madrid play. Fuck off, Colin. Fuck you and Real Madrid. I don't fucking care about that team, and I don't care about Barcelona. I follow Fulham. That's my team in Europe. Do we watch all the other teams the Americans play on? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So quit with your pronunciations about who's casual and who's not.
Man, you got to imagine all those fans of the second division teams that aren't in the top flight teams that just watch their club play over week in, week out, maybe other matches in their leagues. They're casuals too. They're not real fans. Right?
I want to see.
Is that what I'm hearing here? Is that what I'm hearing? I don't watch Real Madrid or Barcelona. Who the fuck cares? Why would I watch either of them?
Exactly. I want to see Colin's list of all the matches he watches over the weekend with U.S. players in overseas. I want to see that. Because listen,
I don't have the goddamn time to do that, Derek. Let alone watch teams that have no Americans on it. Why the fuck would I care about teams that have no Americans on it?
Fuck Madrid. Fuck Barcelona. Fuck Bayern. Fuck fucking Man City. Fuck all the big teams. I don't watch any of those teams. No Americans, and I hate those teams. I hate them. I am a fucking underdog guy and always will be. Go Underdogs. I fucking cheered when Leicester won the fucking Premier League. I loved it. And I'm not even a Leicester fan, but I thought it was one of the greatest things that ever happened in the Premier League ever. And I will continue to feel that way. And I want more of those stories, frankly. Fuck all the big teams. They can go suck my fucking scrotum. Don't care about them. Go ahead, Brett. Sorry.
Larry says for $2, Colin must pre-approve half-breeds like Derek.
Hey, what? Hey, am I a Michelin? By the way, that's what they call half-breeds in Germany during World War II, Michelins. Those were half Jews, half German, half Jew. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how I'm a half-breed, but whatever. Oh, that's right. My mom's German, so I'm a half-breed American. My bad.
There you go.
We're getting to the core of it now.
You just say half American, yeah. Colin, you don't have to be a real fan of soccer if you don't watch Real Madrid. You don't have to. He says he goes on saying the point is you don't really like soccer, so your views have no frame of reference.
Oh, so are you a Real Madrid fan? If you are, fine. Watch them all you want. I don't care. I don't like Real Madrid. I hate that team. Will I watch a game against Real Madrid in the Champions League if I like the other team that's probably supposed to lose? Yes, and I'm rooting for the other team. Period. End of story. And if you like Real Madrid, or if anybody else does like Real Madrid, that's cool too. You can do that. I don't have any problem with that. I'm just telling you my point of view. My point of view is I'm an underdog guy. I like the small teams. I like Fulham. Fulham's been my team since 2001. And that's my team. And then I picked up Leeds a couple seasons ago, and I fell in love with Leeds.
Yeah.
And I, got to know the guys covering on the One Leeds show, and I really like that show.
Hey Gio, if you make it to Real Madrid, I'll start watching them. Okay?
If Gio gets there, I will watch it. But otherwise, I'm not watching it.
So Adam says the idea that Standers for Greg after 5 years and Poch after his first window, missing most of his first team choices, by the way, should be the same as an absurd proposition. If we're floundering in March or next summer, you'll hear plenty of criticism. But this notion above is idiotic. Although I don't above notion, the criticism, but you can still critique Poch the same way you critique Greg. You can.
Yes.
And it's fine to be consistent with that front. It doesn't matter if it's his first fucking window. If he can't get the players out there motivated, it's the same fucking thing that Greg had. And I'm going to say the same thing. I'm just saying.
Yep. No, I agree with you. It's 100% true. And by the way, Colin, even if we disagree with you, I hope you continue to post until you turn blue in the face, because your comments are interesting. They are obviously don't agree with us, but we love talking about it. So continue to do what you do. I'm not saying you should stop posting here. No, just because I disagree with some of the things you say, keep posting. It's fine. But don't expect us to not answer or not respond, because we are, and that's part of the game. And not to be, we're probably going to curse when we do it. That's the way we run here.
We're colorful people.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not colorful people. We're colorful, souls.
Right. And it's no offense to you. I hope you have a good life and, you're having lots of sex and all that. No big deal. Hope life's great.
Between Pete's erection comment and you're talking about him having sex, man, he's going to be kind of confused as far as
I never even heard the Pete erection comment. I have no idea what it is, and I'm whatever. I don't have to take responsibility for Pete. I take responsibility for me.
And what you said was really nice.
I've always been nice to Colin, and he's just such a dick. So why am I being nice to Colin all the time? I don't know why. And so I'm stopping. I'm not being nice to him anymore. All right, go ahead.
U.S. men's national team takes says discussion needs to be had about these three. Don't care what you're doing for your club. If you can't translate that to the U.S. men's national team, you don't need to be playing next man up.
Okay, roll that back up again. I want to reread that and the wording. Discussion about these three. Okay. Don't care what you're doing for your club. If you can't translate that to the... Okay. All right. So translating what you're doing at your club to the U.S. men's national team is not as easy as it sounds. If you're playing a totally different system, or you're playing a totally different setup, or you're playing totally different tactics. I agree. If you can't find, the manager can't find a way to use you, that's an issue. I know people say that, like Sargent sucked. Yes, he wasn't good. He wasn't good. I know that Tillman wasn't good, but it's not because he's lazy. I just want to make that really clear. People say he looks lazy, like he doesn't care. That's just him. He's a German. Germans aren't really emotional. They're not going to show a lot of more emotion generally. Well, not all Germans, but most are pretty reserved people. They get along with their business and do their job. He is a languid player, kind of like Reyna. He does look like he doesn't give a shit, but he does. He looks lost to me more than anything else. Brenden Aaronson just sucked. He just sucked hardcore. He played like a spaz, and he played poorly. We'll see what happens. Yeah, German stoicism, as Fumar says, is a thing. I think that might be changing. Stoicism it's interesting because my grandfather he's very stoic, but you piss him off, he not suffering fools. He did not suffer fools. So there's that too.
Again, with context and everything like that, I don't necessarily would say that Sargent's sucked this window. Again, I think his first performance against Panama, I gave him a mediocre score, like a mid-range score, because he did miss an open opportunity, one that he has to put away, and one that might have pushed him down the depth chart, quite frankly. I'm going to flat out say it. However, the rest of the game that he played against Panama was perfectly fine. Sure. Maybe a couple errant passes here and there, but as a whole, he did perfectly fine the entire match. He even had a good shot on goal. The Mexico match was bad. But then again, it's bad for everyone. So I'm going to blame Sargent for not necessarily doing better when he got the ball, but it was bad. It was a bad match as a whole. Aaronson was. We've talked about all of these players during the Mexico review, so I'm not going to really go into it. I think we've seen enough of Aaronson. We know what we get from Aaronson, quite frankly. So
yeah. I hope Poch realized it too now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him for the last 4 years.
He started both games for Poch.
So,
and I know Poch is thinking, "Oh, this guy is a great high presser. He'll be perfect for what I want to do." But then he didn't bother high pressing, so very rarely.
And as far as Tillman's concerned as a whole, I mean, he's still going to get a call up. He's still performing at PSV. It'll still come out. And I think once we see him with more of an A squad, we'll probably see better play from him because it's not going to be reliant on him as much.
Hopefully. M still says if Tillman doesn't want to be here, don't force him. He does want to be here. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
He can decline at any time. He doesn't have to go.
Right. He does want to play for the U.S. Don't take his stoicism as some sort of like he's not into it or his languid play. I don't think he's a lazy player. But I do think he looks confused and somewhat passive, as B says. Like I just don't feel like he knows how he fits into this team or what to do. I think when he plays for PSV, he knows he's the man. Like he's the man on that team in the midfield.
Yeah.
Here he's not so much the man, and he's just not really sure how he fits into this team. So. Yeah.
Labrador says if the 10s and 9s don't get into open space and make correct runs, that's on them. I 100% agree with that. However, having rewatched the Panama game twice, there were 3 or 4 runs that Sargent made that Musa and Aaronson failed to make the pass.
Yeah.
They literally just held on to the ball and ruined the opportunity. So it's tough. It's tough to see that stuff and then hear people like, well, he's just not making the right runs in. Well, he is. He's not getting the ball. That's the thing. Most of Sargent's touches come from him checking back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say. I mean, he definitely brings something that a lot of people are interested in. Whether he gets called up in November will be seen. Vasquez came in. He looked good, relatively good. I mean, for what that Mexico game could offer. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm open to all of it, Brett. Like if he calls Vasquez instead of Sargent,
whatever, it happens.
It'll happen, and I'll be fine with it.
Sargent will get another look at some point. We're going to rotate, guys. I think the only thing we can consider at this point is that, Ballo, for his shortcomings in certain matches and certain style of play, at this point is our go-to 9.
Fumar made a great point, by the way. He said this match was personal for Vasquez and for Zendejas. And he's right.
It was that one, yeah.
Now, who was the first guy when Zendejas was getting thrown around like a rag during that conflict that came to Zendejas' rescue? Fucking Vasquez was there on the site, pushing what I can't remember who threw Zendejas onto the ground after the guys.
Wright was another one too, though. Wright and Vasquez came in. They're the only ones that, because I forgot who it was. Somebody pointed out it was oh god, I forgot who it was now. It was Dom. Dom mentioned it. He goes, once again, U.S. men's national team not getting into that kerfuffle. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And a couple of people pointed out, not Zendejas, but Vasquez came in, and I go, yeah, so did Wright. He's like, that's a good point. Those two did.
Now, earlier in the game, when Tillman was hacked down like a fucking lifeless tree, no one stepped up to either help him up on our team or get in the face of that hacker. That pissed me off. Where is that fight there? And then even Tillman got up like, no big deal. What the that was a horrible foul. Where was everybody? I just didn't understand that. Where is the fucking fire in your belly? I get it. It's a friendly, but it's Mexico. Give it a go. Give it a go. Put some fucking emotion into it. That's what Zendejas did bring. Give him credit for his limitations. He brought the fire. And anyhow, I like that, and we need that. And without Adams, we don't have any of it. Adams is the only guy who's going to stand up, talk shit in other players' faces. Maybe you need to bring Matt Miazga back because at least he does that, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, he seems to be way out of the picture at this point. I just want to see people play with fire, and I'm not seeing that. And I certainly didn't see that versus Mexico. It was limp dick city versus Mexico. A bunch of fucking limp dicks out there. That cannot happen anymore. It's got to be some fucking balls of fire going out there. Guys that want to win, who are going to take no shit and give no shit and suffer no fools. That is not what we saw versus Mexico. We saw timidity. We saw uncertainty. We saw confusion. And we just saw a lot of hey, they're the boss. And that's okay. We'll bend over and grab our ankles. That cannot be how we ever play again.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I figured we'd just go down the list and talk about the glaring ones that we disagree with.
Yeah.
Because, it's tough to give anybody really over a 5 for this entire camp. Because it wasn't a great camp by any means.
So this is the overall camp rating.
There were certainly positives in the panel match, but again, it was still a messy match. Had its little problems.
Yeah.
So Turner 5, Scally 5, A-Rob 4.
The Turner thing, yeah, I would say 5, just simply because of the great saves he made versus Panama.
Are we gonna hurt him so much for the Mexico game though?
I don't think so. He couldn't save either one of those two.
I'm thinking 5-5.
I think 5's fine.
He made a solid save. And aside from that, he had that poor distribution, everything like that. But 5, whatever. It's anywhere in that range.
He didn't play the fool though this time. That's the good news. Scally, okay, that's fine. I'm fine with a 5.
Yeah.
Lund, yeah. I don't know. Maybe
one's
2.
harsh. One's harsh.
I would give him a 2. A-Rob, I would have given A-Rob
still kind of going 3 on Lund. He didn't do anything horrific, but he wasn't great.
He wasn't great, but I think 1's a little harsh. I would have
incredibly harsh, yeah.
2 or 3. A-Rob, I might even bump that up to a 4.5, but that's splitting hairs. Tim Ream.
That.
All right, Tim Ream, a 2.
He's really taking that mistake against Mexico to heart.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, was Ream that horrible against Panama?
Well, I mean, he's the one who created our first opportunity, our first goal against Panama. He's the one who laced that 40-yard up ball to Jedi, who brought it back, etc.
I would have given Ream a 3.
Yeah, it's fine. His Mexico game was poor. I agree. That's fine.
Yeah. McKenzie, he only played one game.
Yeah, I'm going to go 5 on that, though. I thought McKenzie played well. Well
yeah.
enough. Well in mediocre sense.
I might have given him a 5.55.
Yeah.
Miles Robinson, I wouldn't have given him a 1. I'd give him a 2, but it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Busio, first game, great. Second game, I would probably, if you put the 2 games together, give him a 4. Because the first game's a 6. The second game's a 4. Maybe it is a 5. Maybe.
Derek, we literally just went over this Mexico game and we said that he was in that range of sucking hard and sucking like a $2 whore.
All right,
I don't know how you can say he had a 4 or 3 in that. I mean, that's got to be like down to a 2 in that Mexico match because they got overrun. So I'm thinking a 3.
I think a 3.
3.5.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. Yep.
The Panama match was great. I thought he was solid in that. I don't think he made a mistake once.
Yep. Malik Tillman, a 2 might be nice.
Yeah, it's great. Well, they should just have a new setting for Ghost. He didn't do shit.
Right.
In fact, I'm curious. Going to keep talking. I'm curious how many touches he actually had that game.
Aronson, a 1.5 is nice. Obviously, that 0.5 is for the play that led to the goal in the first game versus Panama.
Yeah.
I can live with a 1.5 for him tacked on that one. Tessman, much better in the second game off the bench than so.
I don't know. I think Tessman played well this game. Quite frankly, limited time frame to judge it off of, but I think he did fine.
Maybe a 5.
I'm gonna go 5. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard to take away anything from that because we're already beating Panama, and then the Mexican game. I thought he changed tone. So, by the way, Tillman had 24 touches in that match. I don't recall 22 of them.
Yeah,
he only had 3 out of 8 successful passes.
Oof.
Damn, that means he took he took like 16 dribble attempts, maybe.
Jesus.
No, it wasn't even that. How do you have 24 touches? I guess does it count every single touch of the ball? I don't know.
Maybe he's passed.
Doesn't really matter.
Are they counting the passes backward to easy? I don't know. Anyhow, Pulisic 5.5. Yeah, that's fair. Musa 2.5. I would have given him a 3, but we're splitting hairs here. But he did some horrible shit. Haji Wright, a 4.
I think the 2.5 is fine because he did get the goal.
Yeah.
So, Haji Wright at the 4. I'd probably bump Haji Wright up to a 5. Quite frankly.
So would I.
I mean, he got the assist, and he was a tempo change in the Mexico game.
Right. I mean, from the little time he had, yeah. Zendejas, I bumped that up to a 3 from the second performance. For the Mexico performance. Why is that a 2? I know he sucked the other game, but I don't know.
He still wasn't super great against Mexico, but he showed heart. So I mean, he's above Aronson in that sense. I don't know, like a 2.5. Maybe you can go to 3, I guess.
You could.
A 3 is still not great by any means, but it's definitely not mediocre performance.
We're splitting hairs, but yeah.
I think so.
Josh Sargent, I'm not giving him a 1. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, I've already made my case for Josh.
Yeah.
I would lump Josh in the 3 range.
Yeah, somewhere around there. 2.5, 3, whatever.
It wasn't great, but I mean, you can't take away from that first performance. He had some good stuff there.
There was good stuff. He did miss
his chance.
He missed the sitter. I get it, but he was there for the sitter. I mean, there's that. Pepe, fine with that. Vasquez, fine with that too.
I'm fine with Pepe with the 5.5 because he scored the goal. But again, on second watch, Pepe didn't. I mean, he got 27 minutes, and he didn't do shit for like the 20. I know he got punched in the face, but he didn't do shit for like 26 minutes.
I guess what Tack's putting the weight on is, did you finish? Because you are the center forward. Yep.
But that's also the problem, though, is that you're disregarding other aspects of the game that the center forward brings. Sargent won all of his aerial balls that were lobbed up to him. Pepe didn't. I don't think Pepe won a single one. So I don't know. I'm nitpicking here. I'm fine with the 5.5. He scored the goal. He scored his chance. That's all I care about at that point. And he didn't play poorly. He just didn't do anything for the first 26 minutes. So,
yeah, Vasquez got a shot off. I don't know. 5 is it seems high. I think I would do 4.
Again, it's one of those situations where he came in and he changed the tempo.
That's true.
And he was able to create something against the Mexico team that was literally running us off the field.
I mean, if we're giving Sargent a 3, how much better was Vasquez than a 2 or a 3 from Sargent? I don't know.
Well, I mean, Vasquez only played against Mexico, so we can only go off that game. But I'm fine with a 4.5, I guess.
Yeah, whatever. Again, this is all splitting hairs, but we thought we'd go for the total camp score. And we could add another category here on top of didn't suck and said played well. Yeah. All right. Well, there weren't many guys that played well. So
Ben Wright's created this depth chart.
Ooh, that's small. All right. I like some of his depth chart stuff. I think Christian Pulisic. I think Haji Wright has to bump above Brendan Aronson at this point. I don't know why Jordan Morris is on this list at all.
Well, he's got like 13 goals in MLS right now. I had to look it up because I was curious how he's doing.
I get it, but I guess outside the top 3, it doesn't really matter. But it would go Christian Pulisic, Haji Wright, Brendan Aronson for me.
I gotta ask, if you had to, Kevin Paredes has been relatively mediocre at Wolfsburg. He's had some good matches. As a whole, just been sort of a passenger. We've talked about that all last season.
And he's been
injured this season.
He's injured. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm referring to all last season.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the Morris, Luna, Cal, in that argument, who are you calling up first?
Luna.
Calling up Luna. Who are you calling up second?
Cal.
Calling up Cal. And I'm sorry, Morris. I've seen enough.
Yeah.
I don't care how well you're doing right now.
I think his days are done. Yeah, it's time for younger guys. Number 10, Reyna, Tillman, Mihailovic, Sonora McGlynn. What?
It's Sonora. I got to put the question mark.
Okay.
Is Sonora still in contention?
Fuck no.
Jack McGlynn? Really?
Fuck no. Alan Sonora? Are you serious?
I mean, does he even play?
Somewhere in Argentina. In a team nobody knows about. No, not Sonora. Mihailovic, okay, he's in the conversation, but he's not number 3. Number 3 is Brendan Aronson.
Correct. I mean, that's the thing you got to talk about, too, because where the players are playing at. I think Brendan Aronson's being misused on the left because he's not really on the left. And quite frankly, Pulisic's not on the left. Hold on one second. I got to look at this formation he's got set up here. Okay, he's playing a 4-3-3, so...
Yeah, he's already wrong there. But anyhow, Pochettino's already said Brendan Aronson needs to play in his real position.
Yep.
And that position's a 10. So if we're going to take that into account, in reality, he is number 3 behind Tillman. Not Mihailovic. I'm sorry, but he had his shot, and it's just... Listen, I like Jack McGlynn. I think Jack McGlynn has done some great stuff in MLS this season. He needs to get the fuck out of MLS and go to Europe.
McGlynn's no 10, and that's the reason why I was looking at McGlynn.
That's true. Yeah.
McGlynn would fit into this 8-6 role, more the 8 role, I guess. He's definitely not a 10.
You could put Luna in there, too. I think Luna's above Mihailovic, frankly.
Yeah. In a 4-3-3, having Luna as the 10 would be my pick, too.
But Alan Sonora, that shit's out of the fucking blue, dude.
Yeah.
Nobody even knows where Alan Sonora plays anymore. He plays in Argentina, by the way. But we've been there, done that. That fucking thing is rolled out. been rolled back in. That's over for him. Forwards, Balogun, Sargent, Pepe, Vasquez. Yeah, I think this list is okay. I think it's fine.
I think definitely going. It depends on who you're talking to. I think going into this window, I think it was probably this, and I think some people probably have Sargent being Balogun, Pepe, Vasquez, and Sargent at this point. It just depends on your personal preferences at that point.
Yep. Personal preference.
DK can't be in the list at all because he's never healthy.
Dude, he's just been gone for so long. It's not even worth discussing. Right wing, Weah. No, Reyna. No, he's not. I don't want to play in right wing. We don't have anybody else who can play right wing. Like we're putting Zendejas and Booth in there.
Pulisic.
Well, he's playing left wing.
We had Musa in there, remember? But this is a 4-3-3, so it's different.
I know. Okay, this might be all we got, but it's not great. It's pretty.
The funny thing is that when we started looking at these backs, if Poch keeps up with the 3-4-2-1, you're going to see, along with Weah in this right wing back role, you're going to see not only Musa there because that's where it seems like Poch likes to put him, but you're going to see Des when he becomes healthy again, vying for that role. Because do you think Des is really going to take over for right wing back?
Right wing, but we're just talking about right. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, we got to stay in context here, though.
Let's stick with the 4-3-3. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're right. I would play him as a right wing back. But if we're sticking with this context, somebody said Yao. Yao's injured. I don't know when he's coming back.
I mean, it's still a promising player that you look at. I mean, Taylor Booth isn't even playing free track, really.
Sabi, by the way, Fumar, he does not start in League One. He has started. I'm not debating that. He has started, but not lately. So he's been coming off the bench. He has like couple starts this season, but he's coming off the bench a lot, not really doing much. Alex Mighton he's a goner. He's a goner.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's playing in really low leagues at this point. You could say Dwayne Holmes. Why not Dwayne Holmes? But I don't know. I don't think that there's a carryover from the disenfranchisement that he suffered under Berhalter, where they got in that massive argument. And so I think you could call him Dwayne Holmes, but he is not an everyday starter either in the championship. So I guess it's pretty thin. We already knew that, but I don't know. We'll move to number 8. McKennie, Musa, Busio. Luca De La Torre might be falling off the map. He's got no team to play for. I know he's been injured, but Celta Vigo's already said he's out of their plans. So he's got no team. Really. He's on an island.
Yeah.
So this is okay, but yeah, I like
since Christian rolled on, really?
Yeah, no, he's not. I mean, he's 5th on this, so that's not happening.
I think we could probably pick somebody else to play the 8 and the 4-3-3 instead of rolled on from this list.
Right. Leonard Maloney gets totally cremated in this list, but yeah, Adams.
What does the red say? Where's it at? Red is unproven at the international. Well, that's true. He's only played one window and has been bit minutes, so it's fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think he'd be up higher if he ever got fucking played and called in.
I think as the season plays out, we'll see Testament overcome Morris. That would be my guess if he plays regular for Lyon. And I think Leonard Maloney should be considered as a fucking center back. And I don't even know how James Sands gets on this list.
Yeah, I don't know.
I really don't. I've watched enough James Sands games in MLS to know who the fuck is that. Left back, Anthony Robinson. Just put Joe Scally on the right so we don't get confused. Christopher Lund, yes, that's his natural backup. And why is DeJuan Jones ahead of Tolkien? I'm not really quite sure.
I mean, they competed in the Gold Cup and everything like that. And Jones made the most of it against the smaller island nations. I have no problem with Jones by any means. When he played right back, I thought he was perfectly fine when he did come in and play for us.
Sure.
Although I think if we're talking about depth, and I guess the idea is that you're not really moving players around because obviously in this situation, Pleasant could be left wing, but he also could be in the 10. So I guess the idea is you put one person in one position, and that's their position you cannot reuse in this situation. So is Scally on the right? Yeah, so Scally's the only one that's been reused more than once. Because if you're going to do that, you got to throw Dest at left back.
No,
right?
he's used a couple others twice.
Oh.
Yes, he has. But I would say look out for Caleb Wiley. If he gets healthy and continues to play well for Strasbourg, he could launch himself up that list.
Yeah.
He really could.
I mean, I guess if you're going to reuse players, you have to have Dest on that list.
Yeah, but let's not do that. I think that's confusing, and I don't think it's helpful, and I don't think it's realistic. I think Joe Scally's like last chance left back. I just think that you're more likely to see Christopher Lund come on and leave Joe Scally on the right than have Joe Scally complete left back. And on
I love the fact that we add the depth in center back instead of really talking about like just the 4 players that will likely get called in.
So Tim Reams still number 1. Yeah, I mean, till somebody knocks him off the block, he's probably still number 1. I think Mark McKenzie's making an argument, so I like that. Miles Robinson, I got no interest in. Austin Trusty moving to Celtic, that's a lateral to less movement going to Celtic. Very disappointing. Eric Palmer Brown shouldn't be on here. He hasn't played for 1.5 to 2 years. He's at Panathinaikos, doesn't get to play. What the fuck is he doing on this list? I don't know. There are other center backs. Like, this is where Tessman should be on the list, or before Tessman, Maloney should be on the center back list.
Yeah.
Maybe he's on the other one, but Maloney should be on this center back list. So Josh Winder got a long way to go, brother. John Brooks is yet to really even contribute to Union Berlin. Well, wait a minute. No, to the other Berlin team. Fuck.
He still has the Hoppenheim here, but it's who is it with?
My brain.
Yep, I'm having the same space right now.
I know.
It's Hertha.
Hertha Berlin. God damn it. So yeah, he's at Hertha Berlin. I said the other Berlin team. I just couldn't remember their name. Yep, that's where he's at now. He's been injured, not playing. Chris Richards, Cameron Carter-Vickers, disappointingly still at Celtic. Walker Zimmerman, okay. Aaron Long, no, I'm done with that. Matt Miazga, I would think about it. Jalen Neal, I'd like to boost up this list, but
I'd throw him under Zimmerman at this point. Just throw him up there.
Yep.
Aaron Long and Miazga, I'm sorry, you guys are done.
There are other guys to think about, like Maximilian Dietz. Of course, the kid at Arnie at Stuttgart. Henri Chase at Stuttgart. And rumors are he'd consider us. I just heard that through the grapevine. Like, he's not like 100% Japan bound. And I didn't think that was the case. So I don't think it's Arnie Chase is out of our reach. Henri Chase is out of our reach.
You're being plagued. You're being plagued by all the people who just put Arnie.
I know, Arnie. I know. It's fucking me up. So we get to right back. Obviously, that's Des if he's fit. Scally, Fossey. Fuck DeAndre Yedlin at this point. He's too old. Shaq Moore, fuck that. Brian Reynolds above both of those dudes. Although Brian Reynolds, honestly, at Westerlo, not been that very great. So if we got to play Brian Reynolds, we're in a big fucking world of hurt, honestly. So if we get below...
What was he with the Olympic squad?
Doesn't matter.
I was just saying, the last performance I really watched of him, so...
No, I don't think he was. But Sir Des Scally Fossey. We don't need to go any deeper than that. Really, honestly, we don't. Yeah, if we're going any deeper than that, we're in deep shit. So,
yeah. I mean, we're kind of in deep shit because Des is currently out and Fossey left injured.
Yep.
So we are kind of in deep poo. So, I mean, as long hopefully Fossey's injury is a minor.
I'd take Dwan Jones. Would be my pick.
Dwan Jones or Reynolds.
Yeah,
I'd push one of those two up.
I would pick Jones over Reynolds. I don't think Reynolds is that great of a player. I mean, look, I've watched a few games of his. and I just not fucking impressed at all in Westerlo. I just sorry, I'm not. I've watched a few this season. I watched a couple last season. Every time I've watched, I'm like, what's he do? He just nothing really, nothing. Not a standout player. Oh, and goalkeeper, what a fucking disaster this
I'll
is.
just say real quick. Reynolds has interest at other places abroad. I'm sure nothing really spectacular, but I think better than Westerlo. But yeah, he stayed this year, so who knows?
He's gonna have to do something to impress people.
Sorry. In no world is Gaga underneath Drake. I mean, calendar for me is done. I'm done. I'm done with them.
Somebody said, why no Griffin Yao on this list? I would just say that he's not a well-known player. And if you're not really researching, you're probably going to miss him. Griffin Yao had impressive moments in the Olympics. He also had a absolutely horrid game in the Olympics. So it's something to keep, like once he got the start, he was completely horrible. So but he has moments of brilliance. It's something to keep in mind.
I think Morocco made us look bad regardless of who was out there.
Yeah.
Except for Paredes. I think Paredes was the only shining star in that match.
I would agree, but that's also the game he got injured in, and he's been injured since. So let's hope that what's this? What about Juan Soto? Are you talking about Sebastian Soto? I don't know no Juan Soto. Anyhow, goalkeeper, Matt Turner, Ethan Horvath, Patrick Schulte, Zach Steffen, Sean Johnson. Just throw Sean
Johnson's toast. Calendar's toast. Move Gaga
done.
up.
Yes, move Gaga up.
Horvath has to be down.
Yeah, I think Horvath's got to be.
Schulte's got to be my number 2, and you can make the argument for number 1, but Turner did have a good game against Panama, but one game does not make a goalkeeper.
Horvath's Horvathing. Just put him where he belongs at the bottom of the stack.
Yeah.
And just get rid of Calendar and Sean Johnson altogether. We'll see what happens with Zach Steffen. I know that Poch knows Zach Steffen, likes him. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how he injured his left testicle before the game to be totally dropped from the team. That makes no sense to me. I don't know what he did in practice. Maybe he fell on a ball while he's trying to say something and it smashed his testicle right up against his leg or something. I don't know. I hope it gets better. And I hate whenever anybody gets a left testicle injury. It's horrible. All right. Laverdad, this step chart is smack of humble pie. What's he mean there? I know what humble pie.
You drop. We talk about Dest. Scally plays a starter in Bundesliga team, but then at that point, you Fossey's he's an up and comer at that point. I mean, although he's 26, not really up and coming by any means, but he's definitely able to make his stamp now. But once you start getting down, a couple of injuries right back.
Okay, you're right.
Ooh, this depth is not good.
No, the depth is not good. It's really not. And this is not a golden generation. A golden generation has at least 2 layers of players where you're like, they're all battling for something, right? You got 22 guys at every position battling for the starting position. Okay, we can be even more generous and say at least there are 18 guys who are going to be dressing, who are interchangeable, and depending on the situation and the lineup and the tactics, are fighting for a starting spot and deserve it. We are not there. We are not there, people. We're not even close to that. We got a really good, if all healthy, starting 11 and playing starting 11. This whole Reyna thing is fucking us all up, and it's fucking Reyna up. And I'm getting to the point where I am so frustrated when I hear the name Gio Reyna. I just want to scream out loud because I'm not sure what to think or do at this point. This is just getting worse by the hour. And I'm not counting this kid out. I love this kid. I think he's one of the most talented, had one of the highest ceilings as a young player we ever had. I thought he was going to be better than Pulisic from those early Dortmund games with Holland and all the other guys where he was starting every game or every other game or most of the games. And I thought this kid's going to be fucking great, but he can't stay fucking healthy anymore. And
there's the big argument that's going on right now as far as when Reyna does get healthy. I think Pete started it. He said when Gio's healthy, he needs to be reintroduced back to the men's national team, regardless of whether or not he's playing for his club. And you have some people who are sitting there going like, well, no, we need our, just like Poch said, we need our players to be playing week in, week out. And then you have people saying like, well, no, when Gio comes, regardless of playing for inter club here, whether it's Forest or Dortmund, he shows up for the team when he's played in the proper position, of course. Since the World Cup, he's played 15 matches and he's had 4 goals and 4 assists. It's not bad.
And after that original bad injury happened, and he came back, he played he was on the field, not often, for a year and a half. We thought he's over that. Then he goes to USA camp, U.S. men's national team camp, and immediately picks up an injury, goes back to Germany, goes back to their training camp. They're like, oh, he's getting better. And then, nope, bad news. There's a reversal in his health. It went backwards. He's now more injured than he was before. You're like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Like, how can this be happening? And then you got to think, okay, well, that's just his body giving up on him, like his dad's body gave up on him. Claudio Reyna was a disaster in his last 5 to 6 to 7 years of his career. But now he was in his late 20s and 30s when that happened. Gio Reyna is an early 21-year-old, and he's having all this shit. I mean, God help us if this continues. We might lose, like we did with John O'Brien, a generational player who would have made a difference for a decade. John O'Brien didn't get that chance because of those injuries.
Yeah.
All right. Every time Howard opens his mouth, he loses credibility as a pundit. Why is it so difficult for Keller and Howard to understand load management for the pointlessness in playing a full-strength team in a friendly? I don't know. I don't know why. I think some of it is for Keller, especially since he's friends with Greg. This is a personal attack on U.S. Soccer and everybody that hired and spent, as he's mentioned, so many goddamn times. Keller can't stop talking about how much money we spent on fucking Pochettino, and he's expecting to immediately jump into the game. Like, imagine it, Brett. You've been known for years as this guy with this big, massive dick, and when it's hard, it's amazing. And they finally hire you for the big job, and you go in, and they're expecting the best porn they've ever seen. It's not going to happen. Brett's going to have to get it acclimated.
Yeah,
he's got to get acclimated. That's all new
pussy over there, guys. Derek, I'll be right back. I need to go grab a beer real quick because my throat is getting scratchy.
I know, and I'm peeing after you get back. So it's not like Brett didn't have a big dick. It's just like he wasn't acclimated to the whole porn scene. He didn't know how that worked. And like Pochettino's getting used to the new players. He doesn't know everybody. He's getting used to the grounds, how it's all working. He's brought his team in. This is not going to happen overnight. It's just not going to happen overnight. You got to get acclimated. You can't expect Brett, for instance, to jump straight into like the best porn scenes ever and be a complete performer. He's going to need to have a little fluffing. He's going to have to need some encouragement. He's going to have to be given some direction. These players need direction. They need direction. Poch needs to figure out who these guys are outside of their club team. What's the chemistry in the fucking locker room? Like, all that's important. He needs to see what that is, and he got to see what that was the last game, and it ain't good. So I would imagine, even though he said all the right things that were general and neutral in the post-game conference after Mexico, he didn't say anything harsh. He didn't call any specific players out. He said it was not a good game. He said that was not a great game, to quote him. And he's right. It wasn't a great game. It was a poor game. Not a very good game. And what's this? What are we reading here? Who's this?
This is Tim Howard.
I'm going to let you read.
This is Timmy. So, yeah.
I already read it, so I'm going to go to the bathroom, and I'll be right back.
Well, you read it on stream, or you read it to yourself?
No, I already read it earlier in the day. Okay, so I know what he fucking says. I'll be right back.
All right. So Timmy says Christian Pulisic left the U.S. men's national team squad to limit his workload. Fans have every right to be frustrated at such a crucial time. I don't necessarily think it's a crucial time, but he's right. Fans have the right to be upset about this. This isn't a hive mind, guys. If you think that Pulisic should have stayed with the U.S. men's national team and went to Mexico, by all means, you have that right as a fan to think that. If you think that, well, you know, Pulisic's been playing nonstop since 2008 or the 2018 cycle, and maybe he needs a break, you're okay to think that. If go back to Milan, a week early so you can recover before your long and horrible schedule. By all means, everybody has their opinion to think of it. So let's see. Pulisic is our biggest and best player. And this was no normal U.S. men's national team camp. It marked the start of Pochettino's reign. Countdown to the 2026 World Cup. Everything's leading up to the 2026 World Cup. That's non-point here. Nonsense point. Yes, he is our biggest and best player. And yes, it's not a normal window because, yes, it was Poch's first one. But, again, he's managing. He wants Pulisic to remain healthy and to remain at AC Milan doing well. So let's see. Even if he's not playing, he should still be there to create culture and set an example. That's the one thing I said. I said, hey, he doesn't necessarily need to play against Mexico. If he's just sitting on the bench, you can make that argument.
Well, I think that's all true and fine. And, he's a passive leader. He's not a rah-rah guy or anything like that. So I get it. This is Poch's decision to send him home so he can continue to stay healthy, get a day's rest before. I think, I don't often agree with Stu Holden. Don't often agree with him, but I think he was right here by saying, listen, he's going to get there on Wednesday. He's going to have Thursday to jerk off and be by himself. And then Friday, he's going back to training. And Saturday, he's playing a huge game. So, I mean, really, give him a break. I mean, I don't listen. I get this Mexico thing, USA thing has been a big thing for a long while. It's lost its luster for me, too.
Nations League, Gold Cup, international friendlies, we play them like 4 or 5 times a year, it seems
I'm
like.
so sick of watching USA-Mexico friendlies. I don't even give a shit about those. The only ones I care about are the actual real tournaments. Gold Cup, fucking, you name it. But the friendlies,
Well, I like this last friendly in the sense that it was in Mexico and it wasn't just a cash grab in the U.S.
Right.
So I'm fine with that. By all means, I want the U.S. to leave the United States and go challenge themselves away. So,
yeah. So this didn't bother me that much. The only reason it bothered Kasey Keller this much, and it bothered, I don't know why it bothered Tim Howard. Like, he can have his opinion. I have nothing against Tim Howard. But that Kasey Keller thing, I'm not saying this about Tim Howard, but that Kasey Keller thing was hypocritical. It was unself-aware, no self-awareness there at all about how he basically tickled fucking Berhalter's dick for 5.5 years and never said shit, never was a critical critic at all on Berhalter. For 5.5 years, he basically coddled Berhalter's nutsack. And the first chance he gets, he goes straight after Poch as hard as he fucking can. And then refuses to admit that all the players besides Pulisic, and this was the day after, so he already knew the facts, and he still wouldn't admit it. He still wouldn't say it. Oh, yeah, all those other players were injured, which is what he should have admitted. I apologize. I didn't know all those other players were injured. He continued to say, to send all those players home. No, dickhead. He sent one player home, Pulisic. The rest of them are injured. They were riding bikes, by the way, in the second day of camp, Stefan. And what's his face from Standard Liège? They were already riding bikes. All the Pepe got knocked the fuck out. He was in concussion protocol, you fucking moron. You stupid fucking unable to fucking eat any crow at all, bitch. We eat crow on the show when we're wrong. You can't do it on your show, you little pussy. Fucking Kasey Keller, I've lost all respect for that fucker. He is such a Berhalter cocksucker, and you can see it by how bitter he is at Poch, the Poch hiring.
Yeah.
And he asked for the 3-0 loss. Oh, but then he took it back 5 minutes after in the same interview. It's like, I just want to clarify.
I want to see us do well.
I hope we do well, but, maybe a 3-0 loss would be a wake-up call. Whatever. Fuck you, Keller.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. Let's see what he says in this one. I haven't actually seen this clip, so I don't know what he actually says. Maybe he redeems himself for all I know.
No, he doesn't.
I'm a little upset for my friend Kasey Keller. He almost got his wish. It was almost 3-0. It was almost 3-0.
It was a sarcastic wish.
No, it wasn't.
Of exactly what you just mentioned, Herc.
Yes.
I don't think it was sarcastic. I think there was definitely intent there.
No, he was upset while he's saying
he may. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure he wants the U.S. to continue to win. But yeah, he was pissed about this the Pulisic going home and the injured players and stuff like that. That he's like, hey, maybe this team needs to lose badly to wake up to this issue. Hey.
Yep.
So.
What does Keller say after this? Go ahead.
Was the wake-up call. Because I was afraid that they could lose 3-0. Because
were you afraid? Forget the fear.
We're afraid they could lose 3-0. Nothing about our previous matches against Mexico would make you think that we were going to lose 3-0. Mind you, it is in Mexico. We are missing a shit ton of players. But it was a fear. That's why I said it, Derek. That's why I said it.
So
it was a fear that we could lose.
Fumar is saying he said the loss is no biggie. Fumar, he did not act like this. These losses, actually the win against Panama, he was highly critical of the 2-0 win versus Panama too. So he could say it's no biggie, but why is he ramming Poch's ass this hard? And he said over and over again, why did we spend all this money on this big coach? He said it multiple times. Why did we spend all this money on this big coach? If this is what we're going to get. Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Fumar was the one that pointed out that he said that he wanted us to lose 3-0. But again, it's one of those things that
that's why I was confused.
He retracted it later, not Fumar, but Keller, like, I want us to win. I want us to win, but this could send the message we need. Well, again, it's the first win. It's the first window. It was a poor match, yes. We move on to November. Put it behind us. It sucked. It hurt. It sucked, guys. But we move on.
We don't need to play the rest of this. All I'm saying is he went on to say, and never admitted. He went to say, again, when they brought up the players, he said, oh, but, it's okay for players to go play for their club team. It's so obvious to us that the clubs are more important to Pochettino. That there was one guy, you fucking idiot. Fucking Pulisic was the only guy that wasn't injured that went home, you fucking idiot. You fucking half-wit fuckwad, Berhalter sucktoad. That is what we're talking about. You are such a Berhalter jack-offer, you couldn't fucking at least admit the next day that you were wrong. Because you are a toad. You are a stooge. You are a stooge. You are a Berhalter lapdog. You piece of shit. Get off ESPN FC. Replace him with somebody else. I think even McBride would do a better job. And that's even crazy for me to say. McBride would do a more honest job than this. And McBride is a total USS soccer. That's probably why he would do a better job, because he would probably defend Poch. McBride would do a better job at this than this fucking Berhalter stooge. That is what Keller has been for 5.5 years, and that is what he is now, because he's so pissed off, which he remarked about multiple times, that we fired Greg and gave all this money to this fucking Poch guy who in 2 games hasn't fucking made him jizz all over the wall. How fucking ridiculous is that? Go jizz yourself, fucking Keller. Go jerk off somewhere and get it out of your system, and then get Greg's fucking dick out of your asshole. And then we can move on, and you can actually be a real pundit with actual real criticism. Because all the shit you said was a joke. You were a clown show. You were a clown show for 3 days on this show, ESPN FC. A fucking clown show. And you know, some guys let you get away with it, but if I was on that show, I wouldn't have let you get away with it. I would have said, where was all this, Kasey? When Berhalter was jerking all his jizz, his zoo shit, and his fucking African dogs crap all over the wall, where were you when that was happening? When it looked like the fucking leadership team was running the fucking team and that they were soft as fuck. You think that's going to be solved and that's going to be changed around and turned around in 2 fucking games and 1 window? He's going to turn these pussy farts into men in a window? No, it ain't going to happen. It's going to take a while for queefs to turn into men. Queefs don't turn into men overnight. And that's what we're working on right here.
Yeah, we don't need a queef. We need a solid rip, right?
We need a solid rip.
S27 says, did you guys see the Greg article on ESPN? I kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Are you feeling bad for him because he's at Chicago now?
Yeah, you do, Brett. You feel bad for yourself.
Are you guys miss me yet? The people are posting that meme about, oh, you guys miss me? I'm like, he hasn't left my life. He's still there.
Yeah.
I still got to deal with this guy.
Yeah, you still got to grab your ankles.
Is Greg really making $6 million at Chicago?
Oh my God, Brett!
It's out of man. He's got money, man. He's again. I think Greg's gonna be a net positive for Chicago, but I'm like still gonna sit there going like, oh God.
I think it's so funny that we were talking about this weeks ago, and I thought
to shut the fuck up, man. He kept saying, "Here, Berhalter's off to Chicago." Like, don't you put that evil on me? Don't you do that?
I know. I was telling you. I was warning you weeks ago. Yeah. Berhalter's off to Chicago. Here he is, buddy. I hope you. I listen. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, and I certainly wouldn't wish it on you, Brett.
As much as I respect Lopez and everything.
No, you don't.
I respect Lopez as a player.
As a player, not as a coach.
As a manager, he's been absolute shit. That's what I'm saying. As much as I respect Lopez, Berhalter's an upgrade. And it's funny if he is in fact making $6 million at Chicago. Getting fired from the U.S. men's national team must have been a positive. He's still getting paid from U.S. men's national team, isn't he?
He got Columbus in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I'm not putting this high bar. I'm not saying, hey, let's win the fucking league. Let's go to CONCACAF Champions League. I'm saying, Berhalter, just get us to the playoffs. That's all I want.
You're just hoping he doesn't take the team to Gettysburg.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and make all these battle and valor metaphors.
Hey, you remember our trip to the aquarium? You're all sharks. Go out. You're all sharks.
You remember the mermaid in the aquarium? She wasn't real, but one thing about her stood out from all the other fishes. She had tits. All right, Berhalter, come on, dude. And you know why she had tits? Because she's a mermaid. Mermaids are special. All right.
Fish bottoms, woman top.
Just like those African dogs were special, the mermaid is special too. Yeah, we don't need any of that. You don't need any of that in Chicago.
Brady's going to be like, Greg, do you mean the seahorses?
The seahorses?
The seahorses.
Or what were the other things that swim around in Florida?
Manatees.
Manatees, yeah.
The cows of the sea. Not to be confused with the chicken of the sea.
Right. No, the cows of the sea, but we're not eating them at the same rate. All right, for the
we're hitting them with our boats. That's all we're doing.
Right, exactly. For the 265 of you who have been here tonight, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma, and give your stepsister a peck on the cheek. We are coming to the end, and let's see what good old Stu Holden had to say.
Umar says, does Chicago even have a U.S. men's national team caliber prospect? Well, I mean, I would like to see Guti, but Guti, he's continuing his time at Chicago. But yeah,
Brady,
Brady's long term here. we're still trying to get Gaga in there, but Gaga was there. So yeah, I mean we've got youth players playing in the U17s and U20s and stuff like that that are showing promise. I mean, I saw a couple of the MLS Next Pro games, which it's MLS Next Pro, but and I'm sitting there going like, well, I want to see more of this kid and this kid and this kid. Bring them up. Get rid of all those other fucks on the team. They're not doing anything.
By the way, before we move on to this clip, I just want to say in the bottom down there, you will find a link to our shirts. This is not one of them. This is a Got Naloxone shirt, but I generally wear the straight red card shirt. But
I think it's the only live stream I created that doesn't have the links on it right now.
No shit.
I will add it. I will add it after the show.
But you can go back to a later show and find the links to our shirts. Our shirts are badass. Lots of people bought them. They're badass.
We watch our Monday or Tuesday show. There we go. We watch.
And they've taken photos of games and sent them to us, and we put them on the show on occasion. Sometimes we forget, and we apologize for that. But if you do go to a game with the shirt on, the straight red card shirt on, there's a Beavis and Butthead version. There's just the logo version up on the right that we have on the. They're badass shirts, and they are high quality. I'm not kidding you. I've had the one I've had now for 3 years?
Something like that, yeah.
It's crisp. It's crisp. Thank you, Kasey. Love my straight red card shirt. They are great shirts. They last. You can wash them 100 times. They'll still be crisp as shit. So anyhow, I'm not wearing a shirt tonight. I usually do wear.
Nope. You're misreading. You're misreading that.
Derek, are you wearing only a shirt? Yes.
Lower half is naked, is what he's saying.
Oh, no. I am wearing underwear. But it's really tight. And if you saw me, you go, that guy's got a big package.
Well, that's
all right.
I'm sure that's a good. That's why Derek always does this when he has to go to the bathroom. He's like, always does that.
Yes, I always cover it because
he doesn't want a spare testicle dropping out the bottom of it.
My testicles, unlike my ears and my nose, haven't really grown that much. When you get old, they say the 3 things old people keep growing are their ball sack length. Yeah, they get them winging around. Their nose and their ears. My nose and ears have grown, but my ball sack has stayed pretty tight. So I'm happy about that. It could have been that traumatic thing I went through years ago. And
down there going like, fuck that, I'm not dropping down.
We're not getting any more.
Goddamn eagle claws, not doing it.
Not gonna do that again. Yeah, so my balls are pretty, they're up there. Not in me, but they're like they were
when It might as well be at this point.
Like high school. Like I'm in college, right? They haven't moved.
Well, to be fair, Derek keeps his apartment 55 degrees, so
it's actually 67 in here.
Dude, our house is at 61. I just turned the heat on. I dropped the heat down to 65 because I don't want my house hot.
No, I hate hot.
It was. I mean, for me, it would have been perfectly fine. Although I'm dealing with this cough right now, so cold doesn't necessarily help me there. But I would much rather my house be ice cold than boiling hot.
Me too. I'm with you. I'm a hot-blooded man. I'm hot-blooded. Blah, 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 blah.
Charlie's at my parents' house. She goes, I'm cold. And I go, that's because you're a woman.
Yeah.
No, hear me out. It's because they have poor circulation for the most part. That's a biological aspect. I'm not saying anything derogatory here, but women generally have worse blood circulation, which is why they get colder. They can't manage their body temperature well.
So that's true, but I will say the high schoolers that I teach, there are a lot of very skinny guys. And these are seniors and juniors, and they come into my class and it's 71. They're like, oh, it's so cold in here, Mr. Richie. I'm like, come on, man.
This is the same thing I'm dealing with when it comes to my kids and their friends and my nephews. When we went trick-or-treating, they would do like one road up and then one road over here and then be like, I'm done. Like we literally did like 20 houses. I mean, when I was a kid, I had two pillowcases and I'm doing 4 or 5 hours worth of trick-or-treating.
Hell yeah, dude. What's wrong with kids?
Can't get me out of there.
These kids these days, they're spoiled.
They're incredibly spoiled, yeah.
All right, let's listen to Stu.
I don't have my electrical blanket. Can you turn up the heat? Yeah. Piss off.
A lot of pampered. As Kasey said, kids are pampered these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
you ask Christian Pulisic which of these games he'd rather play, and he'd much rather play against Mexico. The issue is that this game comes on a Tuesday. He's going to travel back on a Wednesday. He's going to have, Thursday is still going to be a recovery. He's going to train Friday and play on the weekend for AC Milan. And unfortunately, these games in this window have come at a period which is the busiest by far in European calendar.
So I agree 100% what he just said.
Yes, he's completely right. Yep.
So, do you think U.S. soccer should try to get like the headlining team first?
They tried, but the problem was, as I understand how the negotiations went, they already had landed Panama. This is weeks before, and they're still looking for the second team, and some big ass owner at Guadalajara Chivas was like, what about us? We can fill a stadium. And they're like, okay, we'll take that. But then it's too late. You've already signed up for Panama. So they're just trying to fill the dates because it's desperation time. You can't play European teams. You can't play most of the Asian teams that are good because they've got other competitions going on at the same time. So,
yeah. So Derek, doesn't Holden in this still frame right here, doesn't he have kind of like a William Dafoe type of look to him right now?
He's much better looking than William Dafoe.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but he has kind of a William Dafoe look.
A little bit, yeah.
I just looked at him like, oh my God.
Kind of when William Dafoe was the bad guy on Batman?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Green
a little
Goblin.
bit.
I said Hobgoblin. That was James Franco. So
I once told my mom that William Dafoe was kind of ugly. My mom's like, not really. I'm like, really? Okay.
He's a celebrity, so it helps, and he's got money. That helps.
I mean, he's an ugly motherfucker to me, but okay, whatever. I'm not attracted to men anyhow. But
all right, sorry, I meant to say Willem. You're right, my bad.
It is Willem Dafoe.
Yep.
He's a great actor, though. Great actor. I just never. I mean, he played in that one role as a leading man where it's really explicit sex.
I think he was great in Boondock Saints.
I can't remember the name of the movie where he was like, it's like weird shit, but very explicit sex and all that stuff. He's not ugly. I shouldn't say that. He's just not like your normal.
Ooh, there's another one. Yeah, Fumar says he was great in Platoon.
Okay, here, Fumar, let me say this. He was great in Platoon, but in general, Platoon was poor. In rewatching, I thought it was poor. I watched it again. I thought, not as good as I thought it was back in whatever the 80s when I saw it the first time. I thought it was, He was great in Mississippi Burning. I think, what?
Are you just suggesting that Platoon doesn't hold up over time?
No, it doesn't.
Because there are plenty of movies that come out and you're like, dude, that was fucking baller. And you go back and rewatch it and you're like, dude, this is crap.
I rewatched it. It was all right. I don't remember Defoe. Oh, yeah, I remember Defoe in Platoon? The point is being, like, a lot of the shit that those guys were wearing didn't really be shit they would be wearing in Vietnam.
So it's not realistic, is what you're saying, as far as the timing. And
some of it wasn't. Yeah, and some of the
you sound like History Buff. What's his name? The guy on YouTube? That does like all the... Yeah, it's History Buff, right?
Yeah, History Buff. I love that channel.
That's a great channel. I love his breakdowns.
Did you watch the Waterloo one?
I have not yet. No.
You must.
Thanks for the reminder. I'll do it.
You must watch that, Brett.
I'll try to do it tomorrow. I've got my kids at my school though. So.
Oh, you will love it. He's so good in that. Yeah. All right. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Between Champions League and domestic cup competition, domestic league competition. And look, Christian Pulisic is in the best form of his career, undoubtedly the best. But he also does have an injury history not so long ago where there was a period where he was picking up these muscle injuries. And I just think that
we know about that from his time at Chelsea.
Absolutely.
That was the big thing there. Chelsea fans were like, he's always injured. I'm like, he is kind of injured. But I mean, he also did play well for you fuckers when he was there. So.
Broken Furnace, by the way, says it wasn't Apocalypse Now, but it was good. I thought it was good. See, but I remembered it as great. And then, so when you rewatch it again, you're like, yeah, that's just kind of good, but it's not great. So that's kind of what I'm saying, Broken Furnace. But Apocalypse Now just stands up. I've seen that so many times. But anyhow, we're gonna get through this.
This is weird. We are agreeing with Holden way too much. Maybe
We are.
Maybe he'll say something silly coming up. I don't know.
He doesn't.
I know, but
I know people hate the sports science part of this and load management and the red zone and where players are when it comes to fatigue. But you don't want to flirt with that part of a player's load management where then there is the potential he goes back, he's going to continue to get run for his club. And really these friendlies, Lex, you even said it yourself, man. I'm going to use your own words. These don't matter as much when it comes to 2026. This is about.
So, yeah, I mean, the big issue is they're playing way too many fucking games. Whether it's between national team and between club team, these players, and I'm not just talking about U.S. men's national team players, I'm talking about all players. They're playing way too many fucking games, and at times they need a fucking break. I mean, during the off season, Pulisic was here playing Nations League, and then Copa actually he's playing Copa. Let me rephrase that. He played Nations League earlier, but then he's playing Copa, and then he's back at AC Milan. Did he get more than a 2 or 3 week break there? If at all?
The Players Association has been begging FIFA for a long time to look at the whole playing schedule and saying it's ridiculous. If you're a national team player on a Champions League team that's also playing in cup games, you're playing every fucking 3 days.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. Like, that's why when Lawless, which we're not going to play, goes off about.
We're going to play that. I got that pulled up.
Well, just go to that straight because he's already made his argument.
So, do you not want to finish this out?
No.
You feel a little dirty agreeing with him so much, right?
No, I do, but I mean, listen, I like Stu. He's just wrong a lot. He got that one right, and that's cool. When I agree with him, I agree with him.
I think Stu is kind of middle of the fence writing type of like. Doesn't necessarily take a stand. When he does take a stand, you're just sitting there like, what? Why?
But this time,
I think this one,
he got it.
On.
He got it right. All the players are complaining about overusage. That's why there's so many goddamn injuries everywhere. So Rocco 22, thank you, brother, for $4.99. GGG played Des and Tyler every minute of every game. The players aren't robots. Yeah,
Don't forget Jedi. Jedi never got subbed off.
And Jedi had a lingering injury, we now know, for the last year and a half. So it's tough out there. The players need a break. We don't want them to stop playing because we love watching them play.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're a national team player and you got to earn a team that plays Champions League, and you're playing a cup series, and you're playing league play. You're playing constantly, and you're doing it 10 months out of the year. And now if we're going to add the Club
World Cup this summer.
Club World Cup, there is no break. There is no break.
Yeah.
There won't be a break.
As Rocco mentioned, they're not robots.
And then we got the World Cup too to smash in there too. Not too long after that. I mean, it's exhausting.
That's literally our key players who are playing and starting for every match for their club team are playing, like you said, every 3 or 4 days. And then they get called into the national team. They fly halfway around the world. They play a couple games. They fly back. And then they're maybe get a game's rest because, a lot of the coaches are like, well, these guys flew quite a bit of distance. So maybe we break them a bit. But as a whole, they're not getting that rest.
And just because you're paying these guys millions of dollars to do it doesn't make it right. These guys shouldn't have to be tortured. Like, I get it. They're getting paid a lot. But still, a lot of these guys' careers now are going to go way into their 30s. This is a long time from 18 to 34. You're getting crushed by travel. It's just exhausting. I can't even imagine. And we've gotten to the point where FIFA and UEFA and so many of these organizations are so fucking greedy. They really don't care about the players anymore. They really don't give two tits about these players. So, something's going to have to change. Something's going to have to give. I don't think the new Champions League setup helps anybody. It really doesn't. If you wanted to, fix that and make it easier. Just make it a 1-and-out tournament the whole way through, like a real cup tournament, like it used to be in the old days, without the group stage. Just 1-and-out. You play, you lose, you're out. Just a fucking huge bracket of teams for the Champions League, Europa League, and the fucking Conference Champions League.
Money.
Conference Champions League shouldn't even exist. Like, that's the third division of Champions League.
The Champions League is the CONCACAF Europa.
Conference League Europa is the third division of European Championships.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares? Nobody cares unless you're a fan of one of the teams playing in it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no one cares. Who wants it? No one will remember who won it.
Well, I mean, and you're looking at going like, hey, you're the 8th team in EPL facing against the 5th team in the Czech league.
Yeah.
Yay. Colin says people should be criticizing Pochettino for making Pulisic come back to play in a pointless Panama game. McKinney flew here for no reason and saying blame Pochettino. I think if McKinney had an injury and he told Pochettino, hey, I'm kind of working something out here, and he still got called in, I think that's on Pochettino. But I mean, I think McKinney's been. Did McKinney play the recent match against before the window?
Yes,
he did. So I don't know. It's tough when you talk about these little tiny niggling injuries. It's like.
I was just saying, don't drop that. I want to talk about.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, as far as Pulisic is concerned, I mean, if Poch wanted to sit here and say, hey, we're gonna, he should have from the get go. I mean, I know he mentioned the load management on Pulisic. He should have flat out said, hey, yeah, we're gonna play him against Panama, and then we're gonna send him home. That way, there would be no expectations. Everybody already knows about this. That came off out of nowhere, sure, but whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter in the end to me. But
number one, people should be criticizing Pochettino for making Pulisic come back to play a pointless Panama game. No, they shouldn't. I'm going to say this as nicest way as I can. This is the first time Pulisic has ever met Poch. That needed to happen, period. Regardless. Maybe he didn't have to play. I don't know. But he needed to be there, and he needed to meet the new coach. To say otherwise...
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to get rid of that.
I didn't want you to do that.
Yep, I got it. Don't worry.
To say otherwise, weird. McKinney flew here for no reason. Okay, well, Pochettino didn't know that. Actually, it was Pochettino's crew that diagnosed the injury. So
maybe McKinney didn't have the injury until he got to the pitch. Same thing happened with Gio. Gio came last window, picked up a knock during training, and flew back to Germany.
All I'm saying here, because then you say insane, blame Pochettino, it just seems like you got a real hatred for this guy or a dislike for him and a bias from the beginning. And believe me, if he sucks and his team continues to suck and we criticize the shit out of him in Mexico, we will be all up in his asshole. Okay? But to start all up in his asshole, like you're already up in his asshole. We just got started. Let's not start fucking this guy in the asshole immediately. Let's give him some time. He's got one window, and let's see what happens. No reason at all to be getting up all in Poch's asshole this early and blaming everything on Poch. I mean, blaming him for making Pulisic come to the Panama game? Of course he's coming to the Panama game. McKinney flew here for no reason. Well, no, when McKinney was here, he was deemed healthy by Juventus. They're not sending an injured player over to Pochettino. So he either got injured in camp or they discovered it in camp. Blame Pochettino? Is that what we want? Where we want to start? We want to start at blame Pochettino? Is that, Colin, is that really where you want to start? Because that seems like a bad starting point for somebody who's going to start off giving this guy a chance. It doesn't seem like you want to give him a chance. You've already said multiple times he's shit or crap or whatever you said about him. I am giving him just as much chance and leash as I gave Berhalter at the beginning. And I gave him plenty. And I'm going to give Poch plenty too. And when I see it going south, I'm calling it out. And when I see a shit game like I did against Mexico, I'm calling that shit out too. Period. All right. And that's it. Sorry.
Well, let's hear what Law says to here.
Load management can kiss my ass.
Love the start of that segment, by the way.
He's wrong, but okay.
It just drives and it should hurt you as a player. You should want to have been on this field tonight to play Mexico. Whether it's in Guadalajara, whether it's in Los Angeles, whether it's in Columbus, or whether it's on the freaking moon, you should want to move heaven and earth to be involved in a game as a U.S. men's national team player against El Tri. Anywhere, anytime, bring it. You want to it. One leg, I don't care. You want to be involved. And if you don't want to be involved, if you just brush it off, there is something wrong. There is something wrong with you, and there is something wrong with the program.
That's easy to say back when he played a total of 31 games a season, and now the players are playing 62 games a season.
Yeah.
So fuck you, dickhead. Sorry.
I was say you're buddy with him, man. Come on.
No, I'm friends with this guy now. I can't call him a dickhead, but that comment was dickhead-like. I apologize, Alexi. I love you, but come on, man.
I don't think Alexi would take any offense to you calling him a dickhead. I mean, he generally gets hate and death threats on a daily basis. So I think being called a dickhead, I think is probably going to be a term of endearment to him. I love the passion. First off, I want to say I love the passion he's pulling out for the U.S. men's national team, and I want any player that comes to the U.S. men's national team that's playing in those games to flat out put everything on the pitch, leave everything on the pitch. Go out there and play the game. I don't think load management needs to kiss your ass. First off, we've talked about this ad nauseum already, so I'm not going to really go into that.
It's a different era, Brett.
Yeah, I know. Well, your point as far as him from playing just league games and a couple of cup games maybe in Italy to where now these players are legitimately playing cup, league, Champions League, preseason friendlies, midseason or winter break friendlies.
Yep.
National team games. Some are, Nations League, some are friendlies, whatever, it doesn't matter. They're still games and they take you away from your club. They're playing a ridiculously stupid amount of games. And I laugh at like baseball and basketball when you're like, oh, they played 147 games this season. I'm like, Jesus Christ, do they really need to?
No, baseball's ridiculous. And the standard for basketball was 86 games.
I'm exaggerating a bit on that one, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think you need 86 games to decide who the better teams are. But whatever, you want to do that, fine. But at the same time, soccer players today get essentially 4 weeks of a break. 4 weeks.
If they're lucky.
If you're playing on a Champions League team that's also playing cup ball and league play, and yeah, it's just getting ridiculous. And now they add the Club World Cup, and I mean, it's just getting to the point where the Players Association in Europe needs to stand up and get UEFA's attention, get FIFA's attention. They've been trying. They have been logging these complaints for the last 5 years. They're getting nothing except for more games and more games. So. Yeah.
Bandit says, well, in baseball, you sit on your ass for 90% of the game.
Exactly. It's like soccer is so exerting. I mean, players getting injured left and right. And we got to stop this at some point. No, I want to see as much soccer as the next guy. But at the same time, there's got to be some thought for the players and their injuries. Like, I don't know how this is going to work going on long term. There's a reason we have a boatload of injured players right now. We're not the only country. Other players have smaller loads of players that are injured. They're not a boatload like ours. They're more like a rowboat full of injured players.
Yeah.
A rowboat. But, like, why? Why is this necessary? Why don't we give fuckers a break? Why is there no break for elite soccer players?
Yeah, as Thomas says, if you're an elite soccer player. And that I think that's in reference to playing the 50, 60, 70 games a year.
Yes.
And that's true. To an extent. I mean, look at EFL. Just in the league itself, Sargent and Haji are going to be playing what, like 40 games? Something like that? 42?
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck it is. Aside from that, they have the Caribou Cup or whatever.
The Caribou Cup.
EFL Cup or whatever.
EFL Cup. Yeah.
So, I mean, just depends on how far you go in those tournaments. I mean, you could be looking at 50, 55 games, depending on the team you are, even in the championship. Then you take into consideration all the national team games you're getting called into, all the preseason games and stuff. It still is a shit ton of games.
And then, even though it's a 9.5-month season for a lot of these leagues, then they go out during the summer and play summer league soccer over in Japan, Australia, United States, and tournaments. They essentially get 3 to 4 weeks off a year.
Again, if they're lucky.
Imagine having a job where you're physically exerting yourself for fucking 10.5 months a year. It's absolutely insane. I'm happy. I'm a teacher now. I get fall break. I get Christmas break. I get fucking summer break. This is fucking great for me. But I just think, as physical as the game has become, we need to start thinking about the players and having more breaks. Now, the players who are not international players get that 2-week break and they're fucking, drinking beer, eating well, hanging out with their. But if you're an international player playing on a really good team in any of the top leagues, you're playing Champions League, you're playing Leagues Cup, you're playing the Pokal if you're in Germany, you're playing, as you said, in England, you're playing the EFL Cup, you're playing Caribou Cup. I mean, what the fuck, dude? There's no end to this shit. There's just fucking, it's actually crazy when you think about how much these guys physically exert themselves. And then we wonder why. We're talking about certain teams. We're talking about like Italy. We're talking they're teams that are just riddled with injuries all over Europe. And they're playing, half of their teams are B teams because their best players are injured constantly. And in our case, we're worse than all of those teams. That's crazy that we're like one of the worst. We are one of the worst. We have one of the most injured squads or rosters in the world. In the world. The United States has one of the most injured rosters in the world. It's insane to think about. But the
funny thing is when we talk about the 9th best league in the world, MLS, we've been talking about match game fatigue for a while, ever since US soccer is trying to tell MLS teams that they have to participate in the US Open Cup. Well, I mean, how can MLS teams participate in this US Open Cup when they have 36 games, 38 games, or whatever it is, and then you tack in Leagues Cup, and all those other various things. Nations League there, then there's CONCACAF Championship or Champions League. I mean,
yep.
I mean, even we're fortunate in the 9th best league of the world to have such a long off season. Quite frankly.
Yeah, give me 5 seconds. I'll be right back.
Right on.
All right.
I'll wait till he gets back to play this video. But yeah, just look over a couple things here. Jack Benita says the Caribou Cup and the Community Shield can fuck off. Well, I mean, some of those second division teams are looking at that going, "This is my chance for victory."
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure all the EPL sites are like, "Yeah, this." Well, the fans aren't saying it, but the players might be saying, "Yeah, this cup can fuck off."
Yeah, and you can say, yes, during the early parts of the cup, most of the EPL teams do play and this is true in most of the Pokal games too. They play a lot of secondary team players, but in the early rounds. But once you get past the first round, you're usually playing the starting guys.
Yeah.
So you got guys that are playing 2 to sometimes 3 games a week. Like, how do your muscles? How do they endure that shit? Like, I'm 53.
You're back.
And I'm like,
grab another beer real quick.
All right. And I'm thinking there's no way I can deal with that. So, there's something that's going to have to be done here eventually, but it's probably not going to be done. And here's the reason why. FIFA, UEFA, all these leagues, they're making a crap load of money. There's a bunch of teams already complaining about this Club World Cup, a bunch of managers and everybody saying, what the fuck is this? Why are you dropping the Club World Cup in our lap? Like, are we supposed to care about this? Are we supposed to take this seriously? FIFA saying, no, this is the real deal. We want to see your best players in the Club World Cup. We want to see the best go against the best. This is like the World Cup, but with clubs.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I don't know. We will see how serious those teams take this.
Yeah.
But, yeah. All right.
Got a couple of Call Away One videos real quick, and then we'll finish it off.
Yeah, let's finish it off.
Our disappointment is on full display.
What mode squad just happened there? When the play is short.
What the hell was
Here you
that? Where was the intensity? No urgency. It was slow. Malik Tilden was playing in quicksand. Brent Anderson lost every single ball. Josh Sargent
was laying in the quicksand. He was laying in the quicksand.
Josh Sargent was a ghost. This is your one moment to show, hey, I'm the true striker. I deserve.
He's got to get the ball, though, man. It wasn't like we were playing through the lines and the guy was just fluffing everything we came to him. When did he get any service or any kind of balls that went to him?
Okay, the littlest action that he got was negative. Aronson, Tillman.
So I brought that clip up primarily because it was nice to see Jimmy supporting the striker when a former striker is going in on him about something that Sargent couldn't necessarily handle. But then I agree with Davies on the bits that Sargent had in that Mexico match wasn't good enough.
No,
I agree in both takes here. So
yep. No, and see, like there's this little thing called nuance, and there's some people out there who don't understand nuance. Like, nuance is, I'm giving Poch time, but I also thought the Mexico game sucked dick. Okay? That's nuance. And I'll give you the reasons why the Mexico game sucked and why Poch didn't do enough. So, nuance is a thing that's been lost in our society. Like if you say, oh, well, let's give Poch time. They're like, oh, you're just a Poch fucking cocksucker. No, I'm not. We watched that game live and we criticized the fuck out of that game. I called it atrocious, egregious.
Yeah.
Period. And we got people out there like, oh, if you said that let's give Poch time, then you're a fucking moron. And I'm not, no. I said, yes, I'm going to give him time, but I'm going to criticize the fuck out of the games where we played like shit. I'm not stopping doing that. There's no way I'm going to. We watched the game live. We criticized the fuck out of it. That's what we're going to do. I don't understand where nuance went in this world. I don't know how it disappeared. But there are a lot of people online who don't understand nuance. They don't understand you're like two different points of view being the same thing. Like it doesn't have to be black and white. You don't have to be anti-Poch or pro-Poch. You can be a even-minded person watching what's going on, the transparent eyeball, if you were, right? Right? That goes back to the American Renaissance writing. And that is someone who's able to view the world as it is in its own light, and in the most subjective way you can possibly view it, or excuse me, the most objective way you can view it without being subjective. And so, yeah, I think that's something we've lost here online.
And that takes me back to the point we were talking about earlier, in the sense that I can sit here and criticize Poch for not getting the team mentally ready for the match, not making mid-game adjustments appropriately, and to win the match. I mean, it's one thing that he made subs, yes, and I think they were all designated subs that he was planning on making regardless. But there were things that can be criticized, and you can sit there and criticize them just like you criticized the previous manager.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
It's isolated to that game, because I think Poch instilled the what he wants against Panama. We came out and we were guns a-blazing for like the first 20 minutes, and then into the second half. But it is what it is in that sense. But you could see the positives of what Poch wants to do. And mind you, we didn't necessarily have the players to implement it the way he wants it done, but we can see where he's going with that.
Right.
Soccer Satan says the starting 11 was awful. This is the same starting 11 from the Panama match, minus Pulisic and McKenzie. Like the exact same.
I don't know what else he would have done. Anybody would have done differently. We called the starting 11. We had it player for player. We've already mind melded with and by the way, we don't do Disneyland lineups here, so we were trying to mind meld with Poch and get the lineup out there that you guys could see that would be the most probable lineup, and we nailed it 100%. We nailed his starting lineup for Mexico. So, I mean, the bottom line is that's probably the best he could have done for starting off, but I don't think he made any adjustments. And again, we criticized the game. We were calling it live. We were hammering the players. We were hammering the coach.
We were a little hammered.
We were probably hammered too. By the way, The Transparent Eyeball is something everyone should read. That's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Read some Emerson.
So, all right, last clip here by let's call it what we want here.
Okay.
Our disappointment is on
What
full.
is this all about? Why is it?
There's not one player, not one, who took this opportunity today.
Look, it was toothless in a lot of ways. I'm really interested to be in Pochettino's head right now, because he probably comes from a couple days ago going, yeah, you know what? We got some stuff here. We got some guys that can fit in. And then tonight you go, maybe some of those guys we saw the other night, one or two of them or three or four of them or all of them, they're not what we thought we are.
There's not one player, not one.
No, he's right. I would have looked at, if I'm Poch and I saw what I saw on that field, I'm thinking, holy fuck, this is a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. Because I think he went and releasing Pulisic early. I thought he thought, no, we're still going to do pretty good against Mexico. I think we can still win that game. And then what he put out there and what happened was disgusting. It was horrible.
With the right mentality, I think we could have put up a performance against Mexico. I'm not saying we would have beaten them, but we came out and we got overrun, and we couldn't react quick enough to it.
So
it was nonstop. Hoof the ball forward, get it out of pressure, or get dispossessed because we're not reacting quick enough.
So Brett, if you're Poch and you're looking at this game and you're basically playing for a lot of it, since you're playing defense, as a 5-2, right? A 5-2 with two midfielders.
Sure, most of that game, yeah. Not by plan, but yes.
A 5-2-2-1. Where are you going to get dominated? Because you only have really only have two midfielders.
The 2/3 of the field that we aren't having five players sitting in.
You're getting fucking smashed in the midfield. And that is where we got smashed, dominated. We were thin. We played skinny in the midfield. And that's the problem with playing three in the back when you're on the defense the whole time. And then you end up looking like a 5-2-2-1 or a 5-2, whatever you want to call it at that point. I'm just saying, at some point, you got to make an adjustment. You're getting absolutely slaughtered in the midfield. Slaughtered. So switch to a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-1-1. Put 4 guys who are specifically supposed to play in the midfield. Like, what are you doing? We're getting crushed. We're getting crushed in the midfield. We have got no presence in the midfield. Absolutely zero.
Well, now that was the big thing, right? That second half, I was sitting there going, "Yeah, dude. I think Morris needs to get subbed out because he's already got the yellow card and he's not really having a good game at all." I also said Aronson needs to get subbed out. Those 2 players did not get subbed out at all.
So when I played in the state finals against Ballard. I was playing for Fort Knox, obviously, high school. Like, we had played a 3-1-3-3 the whole season. Odd shit. That's weird shit. That's a weird fucking formation. We played a guy that hovered above the 3. And then we had another 3 and another 3. And then we played Ballard. And Ballard played a 4-4-2. And we were completely overrun in the midfield. They had 4, we had 3. And, it was so obvious we were overflooded. They had 4 and we had 3 in the midfield. They were dominating the midfield. They had more players than we did in the midfield. We made no adjustments and we lost in the state finals 3-1. And we had a guy that read the fucking whole book on how the Dutch play football, and that's how he decided we were going to play a 4-3-3. But he instead played a 3-1-3-3. But, listen, we were dominating the midfield by just one more player being in the midfield. In this case, we were completely outplayed in the midfield because we were totally outnumbered in it most of the game. You can't do that. You got to make an adjustment to a 4-4-2 or something, a 4-3-3. Or 4-4-2-1.
It kind of went that way once Wright came on.
All right,
Wright and Vasquez.
4-4-1-1.
I mean, yep. I know Wright came back some, but I mean, just like I said in the Panama game, he kind of played up higher and was acting more like a striker than he was a Pulisic 10 that we saw in the first half.
Can't. My point being, you can't play a game where your midfield's completely dominated, and that made the back 3 look a lot worse than they were. They were constantly under threat. Rocco 2022 for 489. Thank you, brother. Says Maloney at the 6, Testament at center back, Musa at the 8. Do you think we would have played better? Listen, I think there's a good argument that Maloney should have been a center back. And we're not going to know. We're not going to find out, but he should be tested there. That's how Maloney grew up. He grew up as a center back and a right back. He's playing basically and as an extra center back for Heidenheim. He plays right in front of the back 2 center backs. He's basically a third center back. He is a center back. Play him there. Find out how he can do. Give him a chance. I don't mind trying Testament there too. I really don't. If you want to try it.
So here's an interesting thought, though. He talked about going to the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-3, despite the fact that he didn't play either of those really this entire window. What if Maloney comes in and you have a player like Fossey or Dest on the right, Jedi on the left, and then in the attack, again, you are ultimately playing with 3 center backs because Maloney is more or less playing as a stopper / center back.
Yeah, but still, he would be considered as a CDM and as a destroyer, which is the same position that Adams plays. So you could do that too, because really, the only person that can actually replicate what Adams does on a regular basis, if you watch Heidenheim and you watch what Maloney does, Maloney is a destroyer. He destroys and shuts down lanes. He is the only guy that can do what Adams does.
I love it when we bring Maloney up and somebody's like, I just don't know if he's athletic enough for the international game. I'm like, dude, have you watched him play? That's all. That's his biggest focal point right there. Is everyone talks like, Oh, he runs the most on the pitch. He covers so much fucking ground.
I watched Maloney last season play against Dortmund, Stuttgart, Bayern. He's top notch. Top notch.
Are you saying he can handle them, but not Panama?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, Maloney they finished what, 7th in the fucking Bundesliga last season? Heidenheim is a fucking village. It's a village. He plays for a team that is basically a small town village. Listen, I'm telling you, Maloney has got soccer IQ. He's got IQ. He knows where to be on the pitch and when 100%. To be there.
That's how Heidenheim does so well.
Yes,
he reads the fucking game and he breaks down the attack before it happens.
At one point, he was injured for like 4 games. And he lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So I mean,
they went back to winning once he came back.
Yes.
So I mean, it's how you play him and how you play certain players. So
yeah, it'll depend on what Poch wants to do. And you listen, I mean, we still don't know what he's going to do with Adams and how that's going to fit in. Is he going to keep the double pivot? What kind of double pivot does Poch want? Does he want a double pivot with both double pivots being able to distribute? Or is he fine with one of the double pivots being a destroyer? And if he's fine with one of the double pivots being a destroyer, then he'll be fine with Adams and he'll be fine with Maloney.
But I mean, you look at that though. You look at the Buzio and how he describes himself as a midfielder, and he says he's an 8 instead of like a 10 or a 6. So, I mean that would work well. You'd still have a player going up. You'd have a player sitting back, and you'd have the 10.
In the end,
went for the 4-2-3-1.
In the end, when everybody's healthy, Bucio's not starting. So
fair. It's fair.
You know,
either is a more so. So
yeah, they're not starting either. But if you want to go back to the past games, yeah, sure. But anyhow, I think I am.
Derek, this was supposed to be an hour and a half show. What?
I know. What the fuck happened?
I suspect it's going to be an hour and a half. And I'm sitting here trying not to cough the entire time. But we still go 2 hours and 52 minutes.
I know. I'm sick of shit, too. I should be in bed right now. All right, guys. We love you. You should know that. You know that already. I mean, it goes without saying at this point. Like, you warm the cockles of our hearts. Really, you do. That sounds like something.
Just not my lungs, apparently.
Not my lungs, but that sounds like something Alexi would say. So I apologize for the cockles thing. Anyhow, we'll be back. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy some good games. We're getting back to watching some Americans play abroad. That'll be fucking awesome. I'm looking forward to that. And I've got Brett, by the way, Wednesday through, well, the rest of the week, I'm off for fall break because I'm a teacher now, right? So I get those benefits, like where I'm just off for like ridiculous days, which is awesome.
Whereas I work for a school district too, but I don't get breaks.
I work for the IPS, so apparently I get these breaks.
No, everybody gets those. Teachers always get the breaks. What are you talking about, Derek? I'm just not.
Oh, you're not.
I'm in IT. I'm in IT, so I work during breaks. Don't get me wrong. I love my breaks. I know there's some of the guys in the IT department who take vacation during spring break and fall break. Oh my God, why would you ever do that? There's nobody in your building. It's the best time.
You're getting reamed. You're getting Tim reamed. All right. Until the next time, we love you. Thank you for being here tonight. All of the 300 of you that showed up, we do appreciate it. We will see you on Monday. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll be back soon. Good night.
That hurt. And to me, it's nauseating. It's absolutely